Why'd I ever think this was a good idea? That's the thought that's been looping in my head ever since we rolled into Fairbanks, Alaska, the snow piling up like it's got a personal grudge against me. My name's Alara June Kovalenko, 29 years old, born and bred in Anchorage, city girl through and through. I'm not some outdoorsy type who thrives on frostbite. I'm the idiot who thought a camping trip in the dead of winter would shake things up. Me and my crew, 3 buddies crazy enough to tag along, piled into my RAV4, a sturdy little beast I figured could handle the trek. I've got a decent job back home, managing a coffee shop and a cozy apartment I should have stayed in. But no, I had to chase some dumb thrill, dragging us all up here to freeze our butts off. Fairbanks in March is no joke. We're talking negative temps that bite at your nose, snowdrifts taller than me. I'm 5 feet 6 inches, so that's saying something, and a sky that's gray as a gravestone. I'd seen pics online, sure, but standing here now, it's a whole different beast. The air's so cold it stings your lungs, and the silence. It's freaky, like the world's holding its breath. We picked a spot about 20 miles outside town, near Chena Hot Springs Road, figuring it'd be remote but not too wild. Famous last words, right? I'm no survivalist, but I packed heavy. Thermal sleeping bags, a propane heater, enough granola bars to last a month. Still, something about this place feels off, like it's watching us. My crew's a mixed bag. There's Torin Elias, 32, a scruffy mechanic from Anchorage with a loud laugh and a soft spot for dumb jokes. He's the one who brought the whiskey, thank God. Then there's Vesper Lynn, 27, a quiet artist type who sketches everything. She's already doodling the snow-laden pines. And finally, Soren Miles, 30, a nurse who's way too chill for his own good, always acting like nothing's a big deal. We've been tight since high school, and I love him, but I'm starting to regret roping them into this. The SUV's parked maybe 50 yards from where we've pitched our tents, 2 big ones, side by side, staked into the icy ground. I keep glancing at it, like it's our lifeline. The first day was fine, kinda. We got here late afternoon, sun already dipping low, that weak winter light barely cutting through the clouds. Set up camp, made a fire, Torin's a pro at that, and roasted some hot dogs. It was almost fun, you know? Like we were kids again, screwing around. Vesper even sketched me looking miserable by the fire, which got a laugh out of everyone. But as night crept in, the cold turned meaner, seeping through my boots and gloves. I'm talking bone-deep chill, the kind that makes you want to cry. I kept telling myself it's just Alaska, just winter. No biggie. Problem is, I'm not a quitter. Never have been. Back in Anchorage, I'd power through blizzards to open the shop, customers or not. So when Torin suggested this trip a month back, I jumped on it. Thought it'd be a badass story to tell. Now, stomping around in snow up to my knees, I'm not so sure. The trees here are thick, all spindly and weighed down with white, stretching out forever. It's pretty, sure, but there's this vibe, like they're closing in. I shook it off, blamed it on the dark. Figured a good night's sleep would fix me up. Sleep didn't come easy, though. The tent's warm enough with the heater, but I kept waking up, feeling like something was pressing down on me. Not the cold, something else. I'd peek out the flap, see nothing but snow and shadows, and tell myself I'm being dramatic. Torin snores like a bear, so that didn't help. Vesper mumbled in her sleep, something about lines in the ice, which was weird but artsy, I guess. Soren just slept like the dead, lucky jerk. By morning, I was wiped, chugging coffee from a thermos while the others stretched and griped about stiff backs. We'd planned to hike a bit today, maybe check out some frozen creek Torin swore was nearby. Nothing intense, just enough to say we did something. I'm no hiker, but I can handle a stroll, even in this mess. The snow's fresh, powdery, sparkling under the faint sun like it's mocking us. It's beautiful, I'll give it that, but there's this nagging itch in my gut, like I've bitten off more than I can chew. I keep looking at the SUV, keys in my pocket, wondering if we should just pack it in. But nah, we're here now, might as well tough it out. Torin's already yapping about the creek, saying it's only a mile or 2, like that's nothing in this weather. Vesper's sketching again, her pencil scratching away, and Soren's checking our water supply, calm as ever. Me? I'm trying to shake this dumb feeling, sipping my coffee and watching my breath puff out in clouds. It's just camping, right? Cold as hell, sure, but we've got this. I mean, what's the worst that could happen out here? The snow's still falling, light but steady, piling up around the tents. I can't tell if it's the quiet or the cold that's got me on edge, but I'm starting to think Fairbanks has a way of making you feel small. Real small. And we've got 3 more days of this. So, day 2 in Fairbanks, and I'm already wondering if I've got a death wish. The snow's coming down harder now, not a blizzard or anything, but enough to make everything look like a damn postcard gone wrong. I'm up early, huddled by the fire, Torrens wrestling back to life, my hands wrapped around a mug of instant coffee that tastes like regret. The cold's got its claws in me. My toes are numb even with 2 pairs of socks, and my breath's freezing in my beard. Yeah, I've got a scruffy little one from not shaving. The SUV's still there, half buried in fresh powder, and I'm itching to climb in and blast the heat. But we're committed, right? Or maybe just stupid. Torrens all chipper, stomping around in his big boots, going on about that creek he's obsessed with. Come on, Alara, it's not even that far. We'll be back by lunch. I shoot him a look, like, dude, have you seen this weather? But he's got that grin that makes you feel dumb for saying no. Vesper's on board too, zipping up her parka, her sketchbook tucked under her arm like it's her kid. Soren just shrugs, popping some ibuprofen for his back, muttering, whatever, let's move before I freeze to my sleeping bag. So, fine, we're hiking. I grab my pack, double-check the heaters off, and we trudge out into the white. It's slow going, let me tell you. The snow's up past my shins now, and every step's a workout. Torrens leading, cutting a path through the pines, his big frame making it look easy. I'm behind him, cursing under my breath, while Vesper's sketching on the move. How? I don't know. And Soren's bringing up the rear, humming some tune I can't place. The trees are thicker here, all bent under the weight of the snow, and it's quiet. Too quiet. No birds, no wind, just our boots crunching and my lungs burning. I'm starting to think this was a bad call. About an hour in, Torrens stops dead, squinting at the ground. Huh, that's weird. I catch up, panting, and see what he's staring at. Tracks. Not ours. They're big, messy, like something heavy dragged through the snow, heading off to the right. Bear, maybe. I say, half joking, but my stomach does a flip. Torrens shakes his head. Nah, bears are hibernating. Could be a moose, though. Vesper's sketching it already, her pencil flying, and Soren's peering at it like it's a patient chart. Doesn't look right, he says, all calm, but with this edge I don't like. We decide to keep going. Can't turn back over some dumb tracks, right? The creek's a bust, by the way. We find it, or what Torrens swears is it, frozen solid under a foot of snow, just a flat stretch between trees. Anticlimactic as hell. I'm ready to call it, but Vesper's wandering off, sketching some iced-over branch, and Torrens poking at the snow with a stick like he's gonna uncover treasure. I'm freezing, my gloves are damp, and that disturbing little itch from yesterday? It's back, stronger. I keep glancing around, feeling like the trees are tighter now, like they're leaning in. Guys, let's head back, I say, trying to sound chill. They grumble, but agree, except Vesper's still out there, lost in her art. That's when Soren finds the bag. He's kicking snow off his boots near the creek when he trips over something hard. What the hell? He digs it out, a beat-up backpack, half frozen, straps torn like something ripped it open. Inside's a mess, a cracked thermos, some soggy maps, a kid's mitten. My heart's thudding now. Somebody's junk, Torrens says, but he's not laughing anymore. Vesper finally wanders back, sees it, and goes pale. That's creepy, she mumbles, sketching it anyway. I'm thinking about those tracks, wondering if they match up, but I don't say it. Don't want to sound paranoid. We hightail it back to camp, the snow falling thicker, sticking to my eyelashes. My legs are screaming, and that scary vibe's gnawing at me. When we get there, the tents are fine, fire's out, but something's off. The snow around the SUV's messed up, not our tracks, not the wind. Like something circled it. Probably just settling, Soren says, but he's frowning. Torrens quiet now, poking the fire back to life, and Vesper's sketching those tracks from memory, her hands shaking a little. I'm trying to laugh it off. What? We've got a snow monster now. But it's not funny. Night falls fast up here, and by the time we're eating chili around the fire, I'm jumping at every creak in the trees. The cold's brutal, seeping into my bones, and the snow's piling up like it's burying us alive. Torrens telling some story about a moose he saw once, but I'm not listening. I'm staring at the dark beyond the firelight, that disturbing feeling clawing up my spine. Vesper's muttering about her sketches, saying the lines don't match up, whatever that means. Soren's just eating, quiet, but I catch him glancing at the SUV too. I'm beat, so I crawl into my tent early, zipping it tight. The heater's humming, but I'm still shivering, and not just from the cold. I keep thinking about that bag, those tracks, the way the snow feels alive out here. I tell myself it's nothing. Alaska's wild, that's all. But as I drift off, I swear I see something move outside the tent, just a flicker against the nylon. Probably my imagination, right? Yeah, let's go with that. I wake up to a scream, sharp, raw, slicing through the dark like a knife. It's Vesper, and my heart's pounding before I even unzip my sleeping bag. What the hell? I yell, fumbling out of the tent, the cold hitting me like a slap. It's pitch black out here, maybe 3 a.m. The fire's just embers, and the snow's still falling, heavy now, blanketing everything in this eerie white glow. Vesper's standing by her tent, shaking, her sketchbook clutched to her chest like a shield. Something's out there, she whispers, her voice all wobbly. Torin's up too, swearing, grabbing a flashlight, while Soren stumbles out, bleary-eyed but alert. This isn't a drill, something's seriously wrong. I'm barefoot in the snow, dumb move, my feet are screaming, but I don't care. Torin swings the flashlight around, the beam cutting through the flakes, and that's when we see it. The snow around camp's torn up, like something big went nuts. Not tracks this time, gouges, deep and jagged, circling the tents, the SUV, even the fire pit. What the fuck is that? Torin says, his usual bravado gone. My stomach's churning, that scary feeling from yesterday exploding into full-on horror. Vesper's babbling now. I saw it. Tall, white, moving fast. And I want to tell her to chill, but I can't. I believe her. Soren's the calm one, always is, crouching by the marks, poking at them with a stick. This isn't an animal, he says, quiet, like he's diagnosing a patient. Too deliberate. Too weird. The snow's so thick now it's hard to see 10 feet. But I'm scanning the trees, my breath puffing out in panicked little clouds. Then the flashlight catches something. Red, stark against the white, smeared across a pine trunk maybe 20 yards out. Blood? Oh God, it's blood. My knees go weak, and Torin mutters, "Moose my ass." This isn't some nature hike anymore. It's a nightmare. We huddle by the fire pit, Torin stoking it back to life. Flames licking up, but doing jack against the cold. Vesper's crying now, quiet sobs, saying she saw it by the creek earlier, thought it was a trick of the light. It was watching us, she keeps repeating, and I want to hug her, but I'm too freaked out. I'm kicking myself. Why'd I drag us here? Anchorage is safe, warm, normal. Fairbanks is a horror show, and we're the idiots who walked into it. The snow's piling up fast, burying our gear, and I'm starting to feel trapped, like it's swallowing us whole. Then we hear it, a low, guttural sound, not a growl, more like a groan, echoing through the trees. It's close, too close, and my skin's crawling. Torin swings the flashlight again, but the beam's weak, battery's dying, and the snow's a wall of white. We need to get out of here, I say, voice shaking, and nobody argues. The SUV's our ticket, keys still in my pocket, but it's 50 yards away, half buried, and those gouges are everywhere. Soren's nodding, yeah, now, but Vesper's frozen, staring at her sketchbook like it's got answers. I grab her arm. Come on, VES, move. And she snaps out of it. We're packing in a frenzy, shoving stuff into bags, leaving half our crap behind. The groan comes again, louder, and this time there's a crunch, like something heavy shifting the snow. My heart's in my throat, and I'm picturing every scary movie I've ever seen. Blair Witch, The Thing, all that crap. Torin's yelling, "Hurry up!" And I'm tripping over my own boots, adrenaline pumping so hard I can't think straight. The tents are a lost cause. We're not folding in, just grabbing what we can. The fire's dying, and the dark's closing in. That disturbing vibe now a full-on terror trip. I'm at the SUV first, yanking the door open, snow spilling inside. The engine sputters. Oh God, don't do this to me. And I'm praying it starts. Torin's shoving Vesper in the back, Soren's tossing bags in, and that sounds back, closer, rattling my bones. The headlights flare on, cutting through the snow, and for a split second, I see it. Tall, pale, hunched, just beyond the trees. It's not human, not animal, just wrong. I scream, Go, go, go. And the engine finally roars. We're peeling out, tires spinning, and I'm flooring it. The road's a mess, barely there under the snow, and I'm gripping the wheels so tight my knuckles ache. Vesper's whimpering in the back, Torin's cursing a blue streak, and Soren's dead quiet, staring out the window. I keep checking the rear view, expecting that thing to lunge out, but it's just white. Endless, suffocating white. My mind's racing. What was that? Some psycho? A bear on meth? No, it was too fast, too weird. The cold's seeping in through the vents, and I'm shaking, not just from the temp. We're alive, but we're not safe. I'm aiming for Fairsbank, town lights, people, anything but this hellhole. The wipers are slapping snow off the windshield, but it's coming down so hard I can barely see. That thing's out there, I know it, and the snow's on its side, hiding it, helping it. Torin's muttering about calling the cops, but my phone's got no bars, figures. Vesper's sketching again, frantic, like she's purging it, and Soren finally speaks. We're not alone out here. Yeah, no kidding, man. I'm white-knuckling the steering wheel, the SUV fishtailing through the snow like it's auditioning for a disaster flick. We're hauling ass down Chena Hot Springs Road, or what's left of it, trying to outrun whatever that thing was back at camp. The wipers are screaming, barely keeping up with the blizzard, and my heart's hammering so loud I can hear it over Torin's yelling. Faster, Ilera. Go, he's shouting, like I'm not already flooring it. The cold's a monster itself, sneaking through the cracks, frosting the windows, but that's the least of my worries. That tall, pale freak show's out there, and I'm not stopping to find out what it wants. The road's a joke, more like a suggestion under all this snow. I'm guessing where it curves, praying we don't slam into a tree or ditch it in a drift. Vesper's in the back, curled up, muttering about her sketches like they're going to save us. Soren's next to her, gripping a tire iron he grabbed from the trunk. Guess he's ready to swing if it comes to that. Me? I'm just trying not to puke from the adrenaline. The headlights catch nothing but white, and every bump's got me flinching, thinking it's that thing lunging at us. This is some next-level horror crap, and I'm the idiot who brought us here. Then the SUV lurches, hard. Something slams into the side, rocking us like a damn toy. Vesper screams, Torin's cursing, and I swerve, tires spinning uselessly. What was that? I yell, but nobody's got answers. The rear view's a blur, but I catch a flicker, something white, fast, darting behind us. My stomach drops. It's following us. Soren's leaning forward now. Keep going, don't stop. Like I've got a choice. The engine's roaring, but the snow's deep, dragging us down, and I'm starting to think we're screwed. We hit a straight stretch, thank God, and I gun it, the speedometer creeping up past 40, crazy for this weather. The thing slams us again, passenger side this time, and the window cracks, spiderwebbing under the force. Torin's shouting, holy shit, it's right there, and I glance over, big mistake. It's pacing us, loping through the snow like it's nothing, all long limbs and hollow eyes. It's not human, not even close, and the sight of it locks my throat up. This isn't just scary, it's life or death disturbing, and we're the prey. I swerve hard, trying to shake it, and the SUV fishtails, clipping a tree. The jolt throws us forward. Vesper's crying, Soren's bracing, but we're still moving. Hold on, I yell, yanking the wheel, and we skid back onto the road. The thing's relentless, though, darting in and out of the trees. Keeping up like this is a game. I'm sweating despite the cold, my hands slippery on the wheel. Fairsbank is close. I can see faint lights through the snow, but it's still miles, and this freak's not letting up. I'm thinking about every dumb choice that got us here, wishing I'd stayed home with a beer and Netflix. Then it gets worse. The engine sputters, low fuel light's been on, but I ignored it, too panicked to care. No, no, no. I smack the dash, like that'll fix it, but the SUV's slowing, choking on the last fumes. Torin's freaking out. We're dead. We're so dead. And Vesper's sobbing. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Soren's the only one keeping it together, scanning the dark with that tire iron. We coast to a stop, snow piling around us, and the silence is deafening. I'm fumbling with the keys, praying for a miracle, when that groan rumbles again. Close, too close. I'm out of the driver's seat before I can think, yelling, run. We pile out, sinking into the snow, and bolt toward the lights. It's maybe a mile, but it feels like forever. My legs are jelly, the cold's burning my lungs, and that thing's behind us, crashing through the trees. Torrens ahead, plowing a path, while I'm dragging Vesper, her arm limp in mine. Soren's last, turning every few steps like he's gonna fight. The snow's a nightmare, slowing us down, and I'm waiting for claws or teeth or whatever that thing's got to rip into us. This is it, life and death, and I'm not ready. We're halfway when Vesper trips, face planting in the snow, and I haul her up, screaming, "Get up! VS, come on!" She's heavy, sobbing, but I'm not leaving her. Torrens yelling something about a house. There's a shape ahead, a cabin maybe, lights flickering. Hope's a tiny spark, but it's enough. That groan's right behind us now, and I risk a look. Big mistake. It's there, 20 yards back, all jagged and white, moving like a spider on speed. My scream's stuck, but I'm running harder, dragging Vesper, the cold and terror mixing into one big mess. The cabin's closer, smoke's curling from a chimney, thank God, and I'm pounding on the door, Torren right behind me. Soren's still out there, tire iron up, and I'm yelling, "Soren, move." The door swings open, some grizzled old guy staring at us like we're nuts, but I don't care. We're shoving inside, collapsing on the floor. The thing's out there, I know it, lurking in the snow, and I'm praying this place holds. The old guy's muttering, "What's got you kids so spooked?" And I'm too winded to answer, just pointing at the dark. I'm sprawled on the cabin floor, lungs burning, the old guy's voice buzzing in my ears like a fly I can't swat. "What's out there, huh? You kids on something?" He grumbles, peering out the grimy window. I'm trying to catch my breath. Vesper's trembling next to me, and Torren's pacing, fists clenched. Soren's by the door, still gripping that tire iron, his calm act finally cracking. The cabin's warm, smoky from a wood stove, but it doesn't touch the cold inside me. That deep, disturbing chill from what we just ran from. I'm thinking we're safe, maybe, but my gut's screaming otherwise. The old guy, calls himself Hal, looks like he's been out here forever, all gray beard and flannel. He's muttering about damn city folk, while pouring us coffee from a dented pot. I take a sip, scalding my tongue, but it's something normal to cling to. There's something out there. I finally choke out, voice raspy. Tall, white, fast, not a bear, not a moose. Hal squints at me, then chuckles. "You mean the ice wraith? Just a story, girl. Scares off tourists." I want to believe him, but those gouges, that blood, that thing chasing us, it's no story. It's horror, real as the snow burying us. We're huddled by the stove, thawing out, when Vesper starts flipping through her sketchbook. "Look," she whispers, showing us a drawing from the creek. Jagged lines, a shape in the snow, too close to what we saw. Hal leans over, his smirk fading. "Where do you see that?" he asks, sharp now. "By the creek," she says, and his face goes tight. "Shouldn't have gone there. Old mining spot. Folks disappeared back in the 50s. Bad juju." My stomach twists. I dragged us into some cursed patch of Fairbanks, and now we're paying for it. Torren's antsy, saying we need to call someone. Cops, rangers, anybody. Hal's got no phone, no radio, just a shotgun leaning by the door. "Snow's too thick anyway," he says, like that's supposed to comfort us. I'm kicking myself. Why didn't I check the fuel? Why'd I push us out here? The SUV's dead a mile back, and that thing's still out there, waiting. Soren's quiet, staring at the window, and I catch his eye. He's thinking the same thing. We're not out of the woods yet, literally or otherwise. It's maybe an hour later when the lights flicker. Hal curses, generator's acting up, and shuffles outside to check it. We're alone, the cabin creaking, and that scary vibe's creeping back. I'm by the window, wiping frost off the glass, when I see it. Hal's out there, fiddling with a rusty box, and something moves behind him. Tall, pale, blending with the snow. "Hal!" I scream, banging the glass, but it's too late. It's on him, fast, a blur of white and red, and he's gone, dragged into the dark. Vesper's sobbing, Torren's yelling, and I'm frozen, watching the horror unfold. We're barricading the door with a table, chairs, anything, but it's flimsy as hell. Soren's got the shotgun now, hands steady, but his eyes are wild. "We can't stay," he says, and he's right. That thing's coming for us. The window shatters, snow and glass exploding in, and there it is, clawing through, all jagged limbs and hollow eyes. Torren swings a chair, smashes it across the thing's head, but it barely flinches. I'm grabbing Vesper, bolting for the back door, Soren covering us with a blast that echoes in my skull. We're out in the snow again, running blind, the cold ripping through me. The cabin's behind us, a scream, torrents, cutting off sharp. I'm dragging Vesper, tears freezing on my face, and Soren's yelling, "Keep going." But the snow's deep, slowing us, and I hear it, crunching, fast, right on us. I turn, see Soren raise the shotgun, fire, and then he's down, a white shape tearing into him. Vesper's slipping. I'm pulling, but it's too late. She's yanked back, gone in a heartbeat, and I'm alone, sprinting, sobbing, the lights of Fairsbank so close but so far. I stumble into town hours later, half dead, frostbitten, babbling to some trucker who finds me. Cops come, rangers too, but they don't believe me. Say it's wolves, a storm, delirium. They find the SUV, nothing else. No bodies, no cabin, just snow covering it all. I'm back in Anchorage now, safe, but it's a lie. I see that thing in every shadow, hear it in every gust of wind. I made a deadly mistake, thinking I could handle Fairbanks, and it cost me everything. My friends, my sanity. The snow took them, or that thing did, and I'm left with the tragedy of it. Knowing I led us there, knowing I ran when they didn't. I keep Vesper's sketchbook, the last piece of her, and sometimes I swear the pages move, like it's still out there, drawing me back. Maybe it is. I should have known better than to trust the quiet up here. That's what's rattling around in my head as I stare out at the endless white swallowing Fairbanks, Alaska. My name's Cale Rowan Demir, 34 years old, hailing from Juneau. Yeah, I'm used to cold, but this is next level punishment. I'm a freelance photographer, always chasing the perfect shot, and when a buddy pitched a winter camping trip for some epic Northern Lights pics, I bit. Loaded up my F-150, tough as nails, that truck, and drove up from Juneau, a solid 12-hour haul. I'm not some rugged survivalist. I just like a good view and a decent paycheck. Big mistake. Fairbanks in late March is a frozen beast. Temps are hovering around -20, snow's piled up like it's staging a takeover, and the air's so crisp it cuts. I've shot in wild places, glaciers, forests, you name it, but this feels different, heavy somehow. I picked a spot off the Steese Highway, about 15 miles north of town, near a place called Cleary Summit. Supposed to be prime for aurora shots, with wide open views and no light pollution. I brought my gear, camera, tripod, thermal layers, a solid tent, and figured I'd rough it solo for a few days. Told myself it'd be peaceful. Famous last words, huh? I got here yesterday, late afternoon, the sun already dipping behind the hills, painting everything this week gold that barely fights the cold. Set up camp quick, tent staked into the icy ground, truck parked maybe 30 yards off, loaded with extra fuel and snacks. I'm not dumb. I packed heavy. A propane stove, a sleeping bag rated for Arctic temps, even a flare gun just in case. The snow's deep, crunching under my boots, and the trees, scraggly spruce and birch, are all hunched under white, stretching out like they're guarding something. It's gorgeous, sure, but there's this edge to it I can't shake. First night was alright, I guess. Built a small fire, cooked some ramen. Fancy, right? And waited for the sky to do its thing. The northern lights kicked in around midnight, all green and purple, dancing like they're mocking me. Snapped a ton of shots, my fingers numb even through gloves, and crawled into the tent feeling pretty smug. I've done solo trips before, I'm not some rookie. Back in Juneau, I'd camp out for gigs all the time, no sweat. But here, the quiet's thicker, pressing down, and the snow's got this way of making you feel small, real small. Sleep hit me hard, but it wasn't restful. Kept waking up, feeling like the tent was shrinking, the cold sneaking in despite the heater. I'd peek out, see nothing but snow glowing under the aurora, and tell myself I'm just tired. The wind picked up, rattling the nylon, and I swore it sounded like whispering. Like actual words, but I blamed it on exhaustion. I'm not one for ghost stories. I'd rather shoot him than believe him. Still, by morning, I'm bleary-eyed, chugging coffee from a thermos, watching the steam curl up into the gray. Day 2's when I start exploring. Plans to hike a bit, scout some angles for tonight's shots. I'm no pro hiker. My knees ache just thinking about it, but I can handle a couple miles. The snow's fresh, powdery, sticking to my boots, and the summit's got this wide, lonely vibe that's perfect for my lens. I sling my camera over my shoulder, lock the truck, and head out, figuring I'll be back by noon. The cold's biting, but I'm layered up, and the view's worth it. Hills rolling out under a sky that's all moody and low. I'm maybe a mile in when I meet her, Leora Sage, early 30s, bundled in a parka, trudging up from a trail I didn't see. She's a ranger, she says, stationed nearby, checking on fools like me who camp out here. She's got this dry laugh, calls me a city boy even though Juneau's hardly urban. We chat a bit. She's cool, knows the area, warns me about moose and thin ice. I'm half listening, snapping pics of her against the snow, thinking she'd make a solid subject. She heads off after a bit, and I'm alone again, the quiet creeping back in. The day's fine mostly. Get some killer shots. Ice-crusted rocks, a raven perched on a branch, the works. I'm feeling good, like maybe this trip's not a bust. But as the sun dips, that uneasy itch starts up again. The snow's falling light but steady, dusting over my tracks, and I keep glancing at the truck, keys jingling in my pocket. Something about this place feels alive, watching. I shake it off, photographer's imagination, right? And head back to camp, ready for another night. By dusk, I'm at the fire again, warming my hands, the aurora starting to tease the sky. The cold's meaner now, seeping through my coat, and I'm thinking about Leora's warning, wondering if I should have stayed closer to town. The snow's piling up, softening the edges of everything, and I'm starting to feel like I'm the only soul for miles. Maybe I am. So, day 3 in Fairbanks, and I'm starting to think this trip's cursed. Woke up to a snow dump, 6 inches overnight, burying my tent halfway up the sides. I'm digging it out, cursing under my breath, my coffee gone cold in the thermos. The truck's still there, a lump under all that white, and I'm seriously tempted to pack it in and haul ass back to Juneau. But nah, I'm stubborn, gotta get those shots, right? The aurora's been killer, and I'm not about to wimp out over a little powder. Still, the cold's gnawing at me, and something's off. I can feel it in my bones. I decide to hike again, chase some daylight shots up near Cleary Summit. Gear's packed, camera, extra batteries, a granola bar I'm already sick of, and I'm trudging through the snow, boots sinking deep. It's slow going, the kind that makes your thighs burn, but the view's unreal. Hills blanketed white, sky all heavy and gray. I'm snapping pics, trying to ignore how quiet it is. No wind, no critters, just my breathing and the crunch underfoot. Back in Juneau, I'd hear gulls or waves, something alive. Here, it's like the snow's swallowed everything. About 2 miles in, I find it, a weird patch where the snow's all churned up, like something thrashed around. Not tracks, more like a mess, with these deep, uneven dents. I crouch, snap a shot, figuring it's a moose or maybe a bear that didn't get the hibernation memo. But it's freaky, too chaotic, too big. My gut's doing flips, and I'm telling myself it's nothing, just wildlife. Still, I keep my flare gun handy, tucked in my coat. Never used one, but it's better than nothing, right? I push on, the snow falling thicker now, sticking to my eyelashes. That's when I see Leora again. She's coming down the trail, parka zipped tight, a frown creasing her face. "You're still out here?" she says, half laughing, but her eyes are sharp. I shrug, play it cool, chasing the money shot. She nods, then spots the messed up snow. "Huh, that's odd," she mutters, kicking at it. "Seen anything weird?" I shake my head, but that disturbing itch is back, and I'm wondering if she knows something I don't. We hike together for a bit. She's headed to check a weather station, says I can tag along. She's chill, cracking jokes about tourists who freeze out here, but I catch her glancing around, like she's on edge. "Snow's been funny this year," she says, casual, but there's weight to it. "Funny how?" I ask, and she just shrugs, moves weird, covers stuff too fast. I laugh it off, snow's snow, right? But it sticks with me. The cold's biting harder, and I'm starting to feel watched, like the trees are in on some secret. Back at camp, Leora splits, says she'll swing by tomorrow if she can. I'm alone again, fire crackling, the aurora starting to flicker. I'm editing shots on my camera, huddled in the tent, when I notice something in one of the pics from today. Behind a tree, there's this blur, tall, pale, smudged against the snow. My heart skips. Could be a glitch, a lens flare, but it's too solid, too there. I zoom in, and it's gone, just white. Now I'm paranoid, poking my head out, scanning the dark. Nothing but snow, piling up fast. Night's settling in, and I'm jumpy as hell. The fire's dying, so I toss more wood on, sparks popping into the black. That's when I see it. The snow near the trucks shifted, not from wind, but like something dragged through it. My pulse kicks up, just settling. I mutter, but I'm not buying it. I grab my flashlight, sweep the beam around, nothing. Still, that scary vibe's clawing at me, and I'm thinking about that blur, those dents. Maybe Leora's right, something's off with this snow. I'm back in the tent, heater humming, trying to sleep, but it's useless. The wind's howling now, and the snow's tapping the nylon like fingers. I keep picturing that blur, wondering if I'm losing it. Back home, I'd laugh this off. Too many late-night edits, too much coffee. But out here, it's different. The cold's pressing in, and I'm starting to think Fairsbank doesn't like company. I clutch the flare gun, telling myself it's overkill, but my hands won't stop shaking. By midnight, the aurora's blazing, green streaks lighting up the snow outside. It's gorgeous, but I'm not enjoying it. I'm listening, waiting. The tent feels flimsy, the truck's too far, and that disturbing feeling's growing, like the snow's hiding something. I'm starting to regret this whole damn trip, but I'm in too deep to quit now. I wake up choking on panic, the tent's walls glowing green from the aurora outside. It's 2 a.m., maybe 3, and something's wrong, real wrong. My breath's puffing out in clouds, even with the heater, and the air feels thick, like it's lying to me. I'm grabbing my flashlight before I'm fully awake, unzipping the flap, and the cold slams into me, sharp as a blade. The snow's piled up overnight, higher than it should be, and the fire's out, just a sad little pile of ash buried white. That scary feeling I've been dodging? It's here now, full force, and I'm kicking myself for not bailing yesterday. I sweep the flashlight around, and my stomach drops. The snow's not right. It's rippled, like something big rolled through, circling the tent, the truck, everything. Not wind, not settling. This is deliberate, messed up, horror movie level bad. My hands are shaking, the beam jittering, and I'm telling myself it's an animal, but deep down, I know better. That blur from the photos flashing in my head, and I'm starting to think Fairsbank is playing a sick game with me. Then I hear it. A crunch, slow and heavy, off in the trees. My heart's hammering, and I swing the light toward it, catching nothing but snowflakes dancing in the beam. Who's there? I yell, voice cracking, feeling like a dumbass in a slasher flick. No answer, just another crunch, closer. I'm backpedaling to the tent, flare gun in one hand, flashlight in the other, when the beam hits something, tall, pale, standing just beyond the truck. It's not a person, not a bear, just wrong, all lanky and still, blending with the snow. I freeze, breath stuck, and it's gone when I blink. Oh God, this is bad. I'm in the tent, zipping it shut like that'll save me, my mind racing. What was that? Some psycho? A trick of the light? No, it moved, fast, quiet, like it owns this place. I'm clutching the flare gun, cursing myself for coming solo. Back in Juneau, I'd have buddies, a bar, safety. Here, it's just me and this nightmare. The snow's tapping the tent again, louder, and I'm picturing that thing out there, waiting. My camera's by my side. I grab it, flip through shots, and there it is again, that blur, in half a dozen frames now, closer each time. The crunching's back, circling, and I'm losing it. I peek out, flashlight shaking, and the snow's moving, not falling, moving, like it's alive, shifting in little waves toward the tent. My skin's crawling, and I'm muttering, this isn't happening, but it is. That tall thing's out there again, clearer now, all jagged limbs and hollow spots where eyes should be, half buried in the snow like it's part of it. I yell, get out of here, and fire the flare, stupid move. It arcs red, lands in the snow, and the thing doesn't flinch, just watches, tilting its head like I'm the weird one. I'm packing in a frenzy, shoving gear into my bag, leaving half my crap. The truck's my shot, keys are in my pocket, and I'm bolting for it, snow up to my knees. The crunching's everywhere now, and the snow's grabbing at me, slowing me down, cold burning my legs. I'm almost there when it hits. The thing's on me, fast, slamming me into the snow. I'm screaming, thrashing, but it's strong, pinning me. It's touch like ice through my coat. I swing the flashlight, crack it across what feels like a face, and it lets go, vanishing into the white. I'm up, stumbling, making it to the truck, yanking the door open. Snow's spilling in, and I'm slamming the key in, engine roaring to life. Thank God. The headlights flare, and there it is, 20 feet ahead, just standing there, snow swirling around it like a cloak. My throat's tight, and I'm flooring it, tires spinning, fishtailing through the drift. It doesn't chase, just watches, but the snow's alive now, rushing at the windshield, blinding me. This isn't natural, it's a horror show, and I'm the star. I'm tearing down the stees, wipers useless, the snow pounding like it's mad. My hands are numb on the wheel, and I'm praying for town, for lights, for anything. That thing's back there, I know it, tied to the snow somehow. And I'm thinking about Leora, did she know? The truck's sliding, the road's a guess, and I'm fighting to keep it straight. That disturbing image of hollow eyes burned into my head. I'm not stopping, not slowing, gotta get out. The aurora's still up there, mocking me through the storm, and I'm wondering if I'll make it, or if the snow's gonna bury me first. The cold's seeping in, my breath fogging, and I'm starting to think this isn't just a bad trip. It's something worse, something Fairsbank doesn't let go of. I'm barreling down the Stees highway, the truck's sliding like it's on ice, which, let's be real, it basically is. The snow's a wall, slamming the windshield, and I'm leaning forward, squinting to see anything. Road, trees, anything. My heart's jackhammering, and that thing's back there. I know it, tied to this blizzard like some twisted puppet master. The cold's clawing through the vents, my fingers numb on the wheel, and I'm muttering, come on, like it'll keep me alive. This isn't just scary anymore. It's a full-on horror show, and I'm racing for my life. The truck's tough, but this snow's unreal, deep, heavy, dragging at the tires like it's got hands. I'm pushing 50, way too fast for this mess, but stopping's not an option. That thing slammed me once. I'm not giving it a second shot. My mind's flashing to dumb stuff. Missed shots in Juneau, beers with friends, anything to block out those hollow eyes. The wipers are screaming, barely clearing the glass, and I'm praying the fuel holds. Town's close, maybe 10 miles, but it feels like a continent away. Then it hits. Something smashes the truck's side, hard, rocking me into the door. The wheel jerks, and I'm swerving, tires spinning, snow spraying everywhere. No, I yell, flooring it again, but I catch it in the headlights. That tall, pale freak, loping alongside. Keeping pace like this is a jog. It's half snow, half nightmare, blending with the storm, and my stomach's in knots. I swerve again, clip adrift, and the truck fishtails, scraping a tree with a screech that sets my teeth on edge. I'm still moving, barely. The thing's relentless, darting in and out of the trees, and I'm thinking about every dumb choice that got me here. Solo trip, no backup, ignoring that itch. It slams the truck again, rear this time, and the back window cracks, cold rushing in. I'm shouting nonsense, get off me, like it'll listen, and I yank the wheel, trying to shake it. The snow's alive, swirling at me, and I'm starting to think it's not just chasing. It's hurting me, playing with me. My hands are slippery with sweat, despite the freeze, and I'm picturing it dragging me out, burying me in white. I spot a light ahead, faint, flickering, maybe a cabin or a rig. Hope's a lifeline, and I gun it, the truck groaning under the strain. The thing's still there, pacing me, and I'm waiting for it to lunge, to rip the door off. I'm close now, maybe a quarter mile, when the engine sputters, low fuel, perfect timing. Don't you dare. I smack the dash, and it catches again, thank God. The light's a truck, parked off the road, and I'm aiming for it, sliding to a stop, snow piling around me like a grave. I'm out the door, sinking into the drift, yelling, help. Anybody. The other truck's empty, engine cold, nobody's here. My chest's tight, and I spin around. That thing's 50 yards back, just watching, snow whipping around it like a cloak. I'm bolting for the cab anyway, hoping for keys, a radio, something. The door's unlocked, and I'm inside, locking it, fumbling under the seat. Nothing, no keys, no hope. The snow's pounding the windows, and I'm trapped, breath fogging, that disturbing shape inching closer. I'm digging through the glove box, maps, a lighter, a half-frozen candy bar, when I hear it, boots crunching outside. My heart leaps, rescue, and I bang the window. Hey, over here. It's Leora, parka hood up, trudging through the storm. Relief floods me, and I'm out, waving her down. Kale? What the hell? she shouts, voice cutting through the wind. Something's after me. I yell, pointing, but the thing's gone, melted into the white. She's squinting, skeptical, but pulls me toward her rig parked nearby. Running, warm, a damn miracle. We're in her truck, heat blasting, and I'm babbling about the tent, the snow, that freak. She's calm, too calm, saying, slow down, you're safe now. But I'm not buying it. I keep checking the mirrors, expecting it to launch. The snow's still alive, slapping the glass, and Leora is driving, heading for Fairbanks, her jaw tight. Seen weird stuff out here, she mutters, but nothing like that. I'm shaking, the cold and terror mixing, and I'm thinking she knows more than she's letting on. We're almost to town, lights glowing through the storm, when I spot it. One last glimpse, standing on the road's edge, tall and still, snow swirling like it's bowing to it. Leora sees it too, her grip tightening, and she floors it, the truck roaring past. My heart's in my throat, and I'm wondering if we're really getting away, or if this is just a pause in the nightmare. We're rolling into Fairbanks, Leora's truck rattling through the snow, and I'm still a mess. Hands shaking, breath fogging the window. Town's a blur of lights, all cozy and normal, but it feels like a lie after what I've seen. Leora's quiet, eyes on the road, and I'm slumped in the passenger seat, that horror show replaying in my head. The heat's blasting, thawing my fingers, but the cold stuck in me, deep and disturbing, like it's part of me now. I keep glancing at the mirrors, expecting that thing to loom up, but it's just white out there. Endless, suffocating white. She pulls into a gas station lot, neon buzzing overhead, and kills the engine. You okay? She asks, finally looking at me. No, I mutter, half laughing. 'Cause what else can I say? I spill it all. The tent, the snow moving, that tall freak chasing me. Her face tightens, and she nods slow, like she's piecing something together. Folks talk about stuff out there, she says, voice low. Old miners, trappers, say the snow takes on a life of its own sometimes. I never bought it till now. My gut twists. I drag myself into some Fairbanks legend, and it almost dragged me under. We head inside, grab coffee that burns going down, and I'm trying to process. My truck's back there, probably buried. All my gear gone. Camera, tent, the works. Thousands of bucks, sure, but that's not the tragedy. It's the mistake, thinking I could handle this place, that I was tough enough. Back in Juneau, I'd shoot cliffs and storms, no sweat. But this was dumb, reckless, and I'm lucky I'm breathing. Leora is sipping her drink, saying we should report it, but what's the point? Cops will laugh. Crazy photographer, bad trip. I'm not even sure I believe me. She offers to drive me to a motel, and I'm nodding, too wiped to argue. The snow's lighter here, but it's still falling, dusting the streets like it's mocking me. I'm thinking about that thing, how it moved, how the snow bent to it. You think it's still out there? I ask, and Leora shrugs. Maybe. Or maybe it's done with you. Done with me? Great. Like I'm a toy it got bored of. We're pulling up to this dingy place, the Aurora Inn, and I'm stumbling out, legs jelly, when she grabs my arm. Don't go back, she says, dead serious. I nod, but it's hollow. I'm not sure I can stay away. Next morning, I'm holed up in a room that smells like mildew, staring at my phone. Dead battery, no pics to prove it. Leora's gone, said she'd check my truck, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm itching to call someone, friends, family, but what do I say? Hey, snow tried to kill me. I'm flipping through channels, trying to drown it out, when a news bit catches me. Some hiker went missing near Cleary Summit 2 days back. My blood runs cold. Same spot, same snow. Was that thing after them too? Did I dodge what they didn't? I'm pacing, replaying every move. Should have turned back at the dents. The blur, Leora's warning. That's the deadly mistake. Not listening, pushing on like some macho idiot. The tragedy's not just the gear or the trip. It's knowing I danced with something I can't unsee, something Fairbanks owns. I check out, catch a ride to a rental place, and I'm booking it back to Juneau, tail between my legs. The snow's behind me, but it's in me too, that creepy, alive feeling, whispering I got lucky. Back home, I'm crashing at my place, safe, warm, but it's a sham. Night hits, and I'm up, staring out the window, clear skies, no aurora, no snow. Still, I see it, tall, pale, waiting. I dig out my spare camera, scroll old shots, and there's nothing, no proof, just memory. Friends ask about the trip, and I dodge, cracking jokes. Can't tell them the truth. They'd think I'm nuts, and maybe I am. Leora texts once. Truck's gone. Snow took it. Figures. Days pass, and I'm back to work, shooting safe stuff. Boats, sunsets. But it's there, that disturbing shadow, in every frame I don't take. I'm alive, yeah, but part of me's still out there, buried in that snow, with whatever it was. I think about that hiker. Did they see it too? Did it get them? The news never says, and I'm too chicken to dig. Fairbanks won, and I'm the fool who thought I could beat it. I keep the flare gun, stashed in a drawer, like it's a trophy, or a warning. The snow's quiet now, but I know better. It's waiting, and I'm not going back. Not ever. Why'd I think I could outrun my own bad luck? That's the question gnawing at me as I stare out at the snow-choked wilderness of Fairbanks, Alaska. My name's Thane Ezra Valtieri, 31 years old, born and raised in Wasilla, a scrappy little town where the cold's a friend, not a foe. I'm a delivery driver by trade, hauling packages in my Silverado, a beast of a truck that's seen me through plenty. But this trip? It's personal. I needed a break. Life's been a dumpster fire lately, so I figured a solo camping gig up here would clear my head. Packed the truck, grabbed my gear, and rolled out. Big, dumb mistake. Fairbanks in March is a frozen hellscape. Temps are dipping below zero, snow's stacked up like it's got nowhere else to go, and the air is so dry it cracks your lips. I'm no stranger to winter. Wasilla's got its share, but this feels meaner, heavier. I picked a spot off the Elliott Highway, maybe 25 miles northwest of town, near a place called Minto Flats. Supposed to be quiet, remote, good for forgetting the ex who trashed my heart and the job that's grinding me down. I've got my tent, a cooler of beer, a fishing rod. Thought I'd try some ice fishing, play rugged for a bit. I rolled in yesterday, mid-afternoon, the sun already slinking off like it's got better places to be. Set up camp quick, tents pitched near a frozen creek, truck parked close, loaded with extra blankets and a spare battery. I'm not some wilderness guru, I just like my space. The snow's deep, crunching under my boots, and the flats stretch out flat and white, dotted with scruffy trees bowing under the weight. It's pretty, in a bleak way, but there's this vibe, like the quiet's lying to me, waiting to pounce. First night was chill, sorta. Built a fire, cracked a beer, and poked at the ice with my rod. Didn't catch squat, but it felt good to sit still. I'm not big on reflecting, too much baggage, but out here, it's just me and the cold, and I kinda liked it. Back home, I'd be dodging calls from my ex or hauling boxes till my back screamed. Here, it's simple. Slept hard, truck radio humming low, some old country tune fading out. The snow glowed under the stars, and I told myself this was worth it. Woke up stiff, though, tents warm enough with the heater, but the cold sneaky, seeping in. I'm chugging coffee from a dented mug, watching my breath puff out, when I notice the snow's thicker than it should be. Piled up around the tent, the truck, like it's trying to bury me overnight. I shake it off, Alaska, right? And decide to fish again. Grab my rod, a hatchet for the ice, and tromp out to the creek, figuring I'll kill a few hours. The flats are dead quiet. No wind, no birds, just white forever. I'm hacking at the ice, maybe a half-mile from camp, when I meet him. Rin Jace, late 20s, bundled up, hauling a sled with gear. Says he's a trapper, works the flats, checking lines. He's wiry, all sharp edges and a grin that's too easy. You're brave, camping out here, he says, eyeing my setup. I laugh, or stupid. He nods, like he's seen my type before, and warns me about the ice, thin spots, he says, and weird weather. We shoot the breeze, and he heads off, sled creaking behind him. Nice guy, but his words stick. Day two's fine mostly. Chop a hole, drop a line, sip a beer while the sun's up, weak and low. The snow's falling light, dusting everything, and I'm feeling all right, peaceful, even. But as dusk hits, that uneasy itch creeps in. The flats feel too open, too exposed, and I keep glancing at the truck, keys in my pocket. Something's off, not loud, not obvious, just wrong. I tell myself it's the breakup blues, nothing real, and head back to camp, fire crackling by nightfall. I'm warming my hands, the sky going dark, when I hear it. A low hum, barely there, under the snow. Not wind, not an engine, just there. I freeze, beer halfway to my mouth, and scan the flats. Nothing. Probably my head messing with me, right? I crank the radio, drown it out, but the cold's sharper now, biting through my coat. The snow's piling up, softening the edges, and I'm starting to feel like I'm not alone out here. By bedtime, I'm in the tent, heater buzzing, but I'm restless. The hum's gone, but that disturbing vibe's lingering, like the snow's got eyes. I'm thinking about Rin, his warning, wondering if I should have stayed in Wasilla. 3 more days of this. Can I hack it? Day 3 in Fairbanks, and I'm starting to think I've got a knack for picking the wrong fights. Woke up to a snow dump. 8 inches, maybe more, turning my camp into a damn igloo. I'm out there with a shovel, digging out the tent, the truck, swearing loud enough to wake the dead. My coffee's frozen in the mug, great start, and the cold's got its teeth in me, making my joints ache. The truck's still kicking, thank God, parked like a lifeline, but I'm eyeing it hard, wondering if I should just peel out and call this trip a bust. Nah, I'm too bullheaded for that, gotta stick it out. I decide to fish again, shake off the funk. Gear up, rod, hatchet, a thermos of something hot this time, and slog back to the creek. The snow's a beast, knee-deep, and every step's a workout. Minto Flats are eerie today, all flat and white under a sky that's low and pissed. I'm hacking at the ice, wider hole this time, when I notice it. The snow's messed up nearby, not from me. It's churned, like something rolled through, with these weird, shallow grooves. My gut twists, moose. Wolfpack. I snap a pic with my phone, tell myself it's nothing, but that scary itch is waking up. Fishing's a wash, no bites, just me freezing my ass off, sipping lukewarm coffee. I'm packing it in when Rin shows up again, sled in tow, looking rougher than yesterday. Still at it, huh? He says, grinning, but his eyes dart to the grooves. What's that? I ask, pointing, and he shrugs, too quick. Wind, probably. Snow does funny stuff out here. Funny stuff? Yeah, right. He's twitchy, checking over his shoulder, and I'm starting to think he's full of it. We chat anyway. He's got traps a mile off, says the flats are restless this year. Restless. That sticks with me. Back at camp, I'm antsy. The snow's falling thicker, piling up fast, and I'm stoking the fire, trying to shake Rin's weird vibe. I'm no stranger to roughing it. Delivered through blizzards in Wasilla, no sweat. But this feels different, heavier. I kick around, check the truck, and that's when I see it. The snow near the creek's edge is shifted, not drifted, dragged, like something heavy moved it. My pulse kicks up, just the cold messing with me. I mutter, but I'm grabbing my hatchet, keeping it close. That disturbing hum from last night's back, faint, under my boots. Night creeps in, and I'm by the fire, sipping a beer, radio crackling static. The flats are dead quiet. No owls, no wind, just snow swallowing sound. I'm thinking about those grooves, Rin's shifty look, and I'm half tempted to drive out, find a bar in town. But I've got 3 days left, and I'm not punking out over some spooky vibes. The fire's popping, throwing shadows, and I'm starting to feel watched, not paranoid, just off. I sweep my flashlight around, nothing but white, piling up like it's got plans. Night creeps in, and I'm by the fire, sipping a beer, radio crackling static. The flats are dead quiet. No owls, no wind, just snow swallowing sound. I'm thinking about those grooves, Rin's shifty look, and I'm half tempted to drive out, find a bar in town. But I've got 3 days left, and I'm not punking out over some spooky vibes. The fire's popping, throwing shadows, and I'm starting to feel watched, not paranoid, just off. I sweep my flashlight around, nothing but white, piling up like it's got plans. I'm in the tent early, heater on, scrolling my phone. Pic of the grooves looks creepier now, all jagged in the dark. The hum's louder, steady, and I'm pressing my ear to the ground. Yep, it's there, vibrating through the ice. My heart's thudding, and I'm telling myself it's pipes, a rig, something normal. Back home, I'd laugh this off, too many late shifts, not enough sleep. But out here, it's got teeth. I zip the tent tight, hatchet by my side, and try to chill. Sleep's dodging me, though. The snow's tapping the tent, insistent, and I'm jumping at every creak. I peek out, fire's low, truck's half buried, and the flats are glowing under a faint moon. That's when I spot it. A shape, far off, low and long, moving slow across the snow. My breath catches. Rin? An animal? It's too smooth, too weird, and it's gone when I blink. Now I'm wide awake, gripping the hatchet, that scary feeling sinking in deep. I'm up, pacing the tent, debating. Truck's right there, could be in Fairbanks in an hour. But I've got gear, pride, and a dumb need to prove something. The hum's pulsing now, like a heartbeat, and I'm thinking about Ren. Did he see this? Know this? The snow's piling higher, sealing me in, and I'm starting to feel trapped, like the flats are closing ranks. I tell myself it's nothing, imagination, isolation, but I'm not buying it anymore. By midnight, the fire's out, and I'm back in the tent, heater buzzing, but the cold's winning. The hum's a drone, the snow's alive with it, and that shape stuck in my head. Low, wrong, out there. I'm not sleeping tonight, not with this vibe clawing at me. I jolt awake, heart slamming, the tent shaking like something's pissed at it. It's dark, maybe 4 a.m., and the heater's humming, but the cold's a knife in my chest. That hum's not under the snow anymore. It's loud, rattling my skull, and I'm scrambling for the hatchet before I even unzip the flap. I stumble out, boots sinking, and the snow's glowing faint under a sliver of moon. The fire's dead, the truck's a ghost under white, and that scary vibe's exploded into full-on panic. Something's out here, and it's not screwing around. I swing my flashlight, beam cutting through the flakes, and my gut drops. The snow's torn up, not drifted, but gouged, deep and wild, looping around camp. Not animal tracks, not wind. This is wrong, horror movie wrong. My breath's puffing out fast, fogging in the cold, and I'm spinning, looking for that shape from last night. The hum's a growl now, vibrating up my legs, and I'm yelling, "Who's there?" Like it'll answer. Yeah, I'm that guy, freaking out in the middle of nowhere. Then I see it. Low, long, slinking out from the trees, maybe 30 yards off. It's not Ren, not a wolf. It's too smooth, too big, sliding over the snow like it's part of it. My flashlight catches it, grayish, slick, no face I can make out, just a mass that moves wrong. My stomach's in my throat, and I'm backing up, hatchet up, shouting, "Stay back." It stops, just sits there, and the snow starts shifting, not falling, shifting, toward me like it's alive. This isn't natural, it's a nightmare, and I'm wide awake. I'm bolting for the tent, tripping over my own feet, when the hum spikes, loud, sharp, like a scream under the ice. The snow's moving faster, piling at my legs, and I'm swinging the hatchet at nothing, panic taking over. I dive inside, zip it shut, and I'm panting, hatchet clutched, listening. The thing's out there. I hear it, a slow scrape, circling. My phone's got no bars, battery's dying, and I'm kicking myself. Why'd I come alone? Wasilla's safe, boring. This is Fairbanks screwing me over. I peek out, flashlight shaking, and it's closer, 20 yards, maybe less, low and still, snow swirling around it like a shield. It's not right. Too long, too fluid, like it's made of the cold itself. I'm thinking about every dumb scary story I've heard. Wendigos, ghosts, but this feels worse, realer. The snow's tapping the tent, hard now, and I'm picturing it ripping through, dragging me out. I grab my keys, truck's my shot, but it's out there, between me and it. I'm trapped, and the terror's sinking in deep. The scraping stops, and I'm holding my breath, waiting. Then it hits. The tent lurches, something heavy slamming the side, and I'm yelling, swinging the hatchet at the nylon. It's on me, pressing down, the snow pouring in through a tear, cold burning my face. I'm thrashing, kicking, and it lets up, just enough for me to crawl out, gasping. The flashlight's gone, but I see it. Looming by the truck, snow whipping around it, and I'm running, slipping, aiming for the creek. I'm halfway there, legs screaming, when the ice cracks, loud, sharp, under me. I freeze, heart pounding, and the hum's everywhere, shaking the flats. The snow's alive, rushing at me, and that thing's slinking closer, slow, like it knows I'm done. I'm backpedaling, hatchet up, when I spot Rin. His sled's tipped over near the trees, gear scattered. "Rin," I yell, but he's not moving. Just a lump in the snow, red staining white. Oh God, it got him, and I'm next. I'm bolting for the truck, snow grabbing at me. The things scrape right behind. I make it, yank the door open, and dive in, slamming it shut. Keys fumble, engine roars, and I'm peeling out, tires spinning, the headlights catching it. Low, long, lunging. I swerve, clip it, and it rolls off, vanishing into the white. The snow's a blizzard now, blinding me, and I'm flooring it, praying the Elliot's still there under all this. I'm tearing through the flats, wipers useless, the hum fading but the terror's not. Rin's dead, I know it, and I'm the idiot who thought I could hack this place. The truck's sliding, the cold seeping in, and I'm aiming for town, for lights, for anything. That thing's out there, tied to the snow, and I'm not stopping till I'm gone. I'm tearing down the Elliott Highway, truck fishtailing like it's drunk, the snow hammering the windshield so hard I can't see squat. My hands are locked on the wheel, knuckles white, and I'm yelling at the truck, "Don't quit on me now." That thing's back there. I feel it, and the cold's a beast, sneaking through the cracks, frosting my breath. The headlights are useless, just bouncing off white, and I'm guessing where the road is, praying I don't ditch it. This isn't just scary, it's a full-on horror show, and I'm running for my life. The snow's deep, dragging at the tires, and I'm pushing 60. Insane for this mess, but stopping's death. That low, slinking freak's in my head, those gouges, Rin's body in the snow. My gut's churning, and I'm kicking myself. Why'd I stay? Wasila's got bars, heat, people. Here, it's me and this nightmare, and the truck's my only shot. The wipers are screaming, barely keeping up, and every bump's got me flinching, thinking it's that thing slamming me again. It hits, hard, crashing into the truck's side, rocking me so bad I smack my head on the window. Shit. I swerve, tires spinning, snow spraying, and I catch it in the corner of my eye, long, gray, moving fast, pacing me like a hunter. My heart's in my throat, and I'm flooring it, the engine roaring, but the snow's fighting back, slowing me down. It slams again, rear this time, and the tailgate groans, metal bending. I'm shouting, "Get off!" and swerving, trying to shake it, but it's glued to me, a shadow in the storm. The road's a ghost, barely there, and I'm sliding, clipping drifts, the truck groaning under the strain. That thing's relentless, darting through the snow like it owns it, and I'm picturing it ripping the door off, dragging me out. I spot a light ahead, faint, flickering, maybe a mile off. Hope's a spark, and I gun it, tires chewing through the white, but the thing's not quitting. It lunges, smashes the passenger window, glass exploding in, and I'm screaming, swinging the hatchet wild. It pulls back, and I'm shaking, cold rushing in, blood on my hand from the shards. I'm close now, lights a rig, parked off the road, and I'm aiming for it, sliding hard, snow piling around me. I'm out, sinking into the drift, yelling, "Help! Anybody!" The rig's empty, engine cold, nobody's here. My chest's tight, and I spin. That thing's 40 yards back, slinking low, snow swirling like it's alive. I'm bolting for the cab, locking myself in, fumbling for keys. Nothing. The snow's pounding the glass, and it's closing in, slow, like it's savoring this. I'm trapped, panting, that disturbing shape filling my head. Then I hear it, tires crunching, headlights cutting through the storm. A truck, Rin's kind, a trapper's rig, roars up, and a guy's leaning out, shouting, "Get in." I'm out, slipping, diving into the passenger's side, and he's peeling out before I'm even buckled. "Saw your truck," he yells over the wind. "What the hell's after you?" I'm babbling about the flats, the snow, that thing, and he's nodding, grim, like he's heard it before. His name's Gav, mid-40s, grizzled, and he's flooring it, the rig shaking. We're hauling ass, the snow a blizzard now, and I'm checking the mirrors. That thing's still there, pacing us, low and fast. Gav's cursing, "Damn flats, always something," and I'm thinking he knows more than me. The cold's brutal, seeping through the broken window, and I'm gripping the hatchet, ready to swing. It lunges once, slams the side, but Gav swerves, keeps us moving. "Hang on," he shouts, and we're skidding, the lights of Fairbank's glowing ahead, so close I can taste it. We're almost there, houses, streetlights, when it makes one last play, crashing into the rear, rocking us hard. Gav guns it, the rig fishtailing, and we're through, hitting pavement, the snow thinning. I'm looking back. It's gone, swallowed by the white, but my pulse won't quit. Gav's panting, "You're lucky, kid," and I'm nodding, too freaked to argue. My truck's back there, probably trashed, but I'm alive, for now. We pull into town, Gav's rig shuddering to a stop at some diner, neon buzzing. I'm out, legs wobbly, the cold still clawing me, and I'm wondering if that thing's really gone, or if it's just waiting. I'm slumped in Gav's rig, parked outside this greasy diner in Fairbanks, the neon sign buzzing like a bad headache. My hands are still shaking, hatchet on my lap, and the cold's dug so deep I can't feel my toes. Gav's inside, grabbing coffee, and I'm just staring out at the snow, lighter now, but still falling, like it's laughing at me. The heater's blasting, but it's not touching that horror chill, the kind that sticks after you've seen something you can't unsee. I'm alive, yeah, but it doesn't feel like a win, not after what I've lost. Gav's back, shoving a styrofoam cup into my hands. Coffee, black and bitter, burning my tongue. "You're a mess, kid," he says, half grinning, but his eyes are hard. I spill it, the creak, the hum, that slinking thing, Rin's body in the snow. He nods slow, sipping his own, and mutters, "Flat's been off for years. Trappers talk, stuff moves out there, snow hides it." My stomach twists. I walked into some cursed patch of Fairbanks, chasing a dumb reset, and it chewed me up. Should have stayed in Wasilla, licking my wounds like a normal guy. We sit there, engine ticking, and I'm piecing it together. My truck's gone, buried or trashed, no way it's coming back. Gear, fishing rod, my last shred of pride, all swallowed by the snow. That's not the tragedy, though, it's Rin. I saw him, dead, and didn't stop, didn't check. Could have been alive, hurt, and I ran. The guilt's a brick in my chest, and I'm kicking myself. Why'd I camp there? Why'd I ignore the hum, the grooves? That's the deadly mistake, thinking I could handle this place, and it cost more than I bargained for. Gav says he'll call a tow, report Rin, but I'm not hopeful. Snow's too thick, and who's gonna believe us? Cops'll say wolves, he grumbles, and I nod. 'Cause he's right. I'm picturing that thing, low, gray, part of the snow, and wondering if it got Rin first, or if I led it to him. Gav's eyeing me. "You're done out there, yeah?" I mutter a yeah, but it's weak. I'm not sure what I'm done with. The diner's warm, but I'm staying in the rig, watching the snow, waiting for it to show up again. Morning hits, gray and slow, and Gav drives me to a motel, some cheap joint off the highway. I'm checked in, room smelling like stale smoke, and he's gone, promising to check the flats. I'm alone, pacing, phone dead, no way to call home. TV's on, news muttering about a storm, no mention of Rin or missing trucks. I'm thinking about him, did he know? Was he running too? The snow took him, and I'm the coward who got away, stumbling into Gav's path like a dumb luck charm. I'm out by noon, hitching a ride to a rental lot, shelling out cash I don't have for a beater to get back to Wasilla. The drive's quiet, snow thinning, but it's in me, that disturbing hum, that shape slinking through my head. I'm home by night, crashing in my shitty apartment, safe, but it's a lie. The ex's stuff's still in boxes, the job's waiting, and I'm jumping at every creek, expecting snow to pile up inside. I've got nothing left, no truck, no peace, just guilt and a story I can't tell. Days drag, and I'm back hauling packages, dodging questions. "Where's your rig, Thane?" I shrug, crack jokes, but it's eating me. Gav calls once. Rin's gone. No trace, truck's a ghost. Snow buried it all, like it's cleaning up. I'm picturing him out there, frozen, that thing slinking over him, and I'm the idiot who ran. The tragedy's not just his death, it's me, alive, carrying this, knowing I screwed up and can't fix it. Nights are the worst. I'm up, staring out. No snow in Wasilla, but I feel it, pressing down. I keep the hatchet by the bed, useless now, and I'm avoiding the flats, the highway, anything north. Friends push. "Camp again, man, shake it off." But they don't get it. I saw something, lost something, and Fairbanks won. I'm done running, but it's not done with me. I'm stuck, replaying that night. The hum, the snow, Rin's sled. It's a loop, a scar, and I'm the fool who thought a trip could fix me. The cold's still here, whispering I got off easy. I never should have come to this godforsaken place. The moment my RAV4 crunched over the frozen gravel near Fairbanks, I knew something was off about this entire trip. My name is Liana Grace Hartwell, 29, a graphic designer from Portland who thought a winter camping expedition would be some kind of soul-searching adventure. What a monumentally stupid idea. The landscape stretched before me like a white nightmare. Endless snow, skeletal trees, and a sky so gray it looked like it was mourning something. My breath came out in sharp, panicked clouds, and the cold seemed to slice right through my expensive winter gear. I'd researched for months, bought the best equipment, watched countless survival YouTube videos, but nothing prepared me for the absolute desolation of an Alaskan winter. My cousin Marcus had dared me to do this. "You're always working," he'd said during our Thanksgiving dinner. "You need to challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone." Now, sitting in my truck with the heater struggling against the minus 20-degree temperature, I realized challenges could be fatal in places like this. The wilderness wasn't a challenge. It was a predator waiting to devour the unprepared. I checked my GPS. The designated campsite was another 30 miles into the Chena River State Recreation Area. No cell signal, no consistent radio contact. Just me, my truck, and hundreds of miles of potentially unforgiving terrain. The survival kit beside me suddenly felt pathetically inadequate, like a child's toy against a monstrous threat I couldn't even define. Something about the landscape felt wrong. Not just cold or isolated, but malevolent. The snow seemed too pristine, the silence too perfect. Like a blank page waiting for something horrific to be written. I'd heard stories about people disappearing in Alaskan wilderness, their bodies never found, their final moments lost to the endless white. My hands trembled slightly as I gripped the steering wheel. The RAV4's tires crunched through the snow, leaving distinct tracks that would eventually be erased by the merciless wind. Each mile brought me deeper into a world that felt increasingly alien and dangerous. This wasn't just a camping trip anymore. This was a test of survival against something I couldn't comprehend. The landscape seemed to whisper warnings. Twisted branches of spruce trees reached out like skeletal fingers, and the snow reflected a kind of unnatural brightness that made my eyes ache. I'd seen beautiful winter scenes before, but this was different. This felt like a trap, meticulously prepared and waiting to spring shut. As the recreation area's entrance came into view, a sudden chill ran down my spine that had nothing to do with the temperature. Something was waiting for me out there. Something that knew I was coming. And I was driving straight into its domain, miles away from any possible help or rescue. Setting up camp was a nightmare I'd never anticipated. The cold wasn't just cold. It was a living, breathing entity that seemed to actively resist my every move. My fingers, despite 3 layers of gloves, felt like brittle sticks fumbling with tent stakes and guy lines. The wind whipped across the clearing, a constant, mocking whisper that made me feel like an intruder in a place where I absolutely did not belong. I'd chosen this specific spot because it looked protected, a small clearing surrounded by dense spruce forest, with a slight elevation that promised some shelter. But shelter was a cruel joke here. Every time I thought I'd secured something, the wind would find a way to undo my work, sending my lightweight camping gear skittering across the pristine snow like scared animals. The first rail warning came around 4 p.m., when the daylight started to fade impossibly quickly. Alaskan winters were known for their short days, but this felt different. The darkness didn't just fall. It crashed down, sudden and oppressive. My headlamp cut a weak beam through the gathering gloom, and I realized how monumentally alone I was. No sounds of wildlife, no rustling, no distant bird calls. Just an absolute, suffocating silence that seemed to press against my eardrums. My emergency radio crackled with static, the only sound breaking the eerie quiet. I checked the weather reports obsessively before leaving Portland. Clear skies, minimal wind, temperatures around -15. But something felt fundamentally wrong. The snow around my campsite looked different, too perfect, too uniform, like it had been carefully arranged, almost staged. I noticed the first odd track about an hour after setting up. Not an animal print, at least not any animal I recognized. It was large, maybe 15 inches long, with an irregular edge that looked almost deliberate. Too large for a wolf, too strange for a bear. Just one print, partially obscured near the edge of my camp. Then nothing. No follow-up tracks, no additional signs. Just that single, unsettling impression in the snow. My rational mind fought against the growing sense of unease. I was a city girl playing at being a wilderness explorer. Every sound made me jump. The creak of branches, the occasional shift of snow on my tent's rain fly. I double-checked my survival kit. Emergency flares, extra batteries, high-protein food bars, first aid kit. Everything was in order. Everything made sense. And yet, the temperature kept dropping. My fancy electronic weather gauge, a gift from Marcus, showed -25 and still falling. My breath formed clouds that seemed to hang in the air longer than they should, like frozen memories refusing to dissipate. I remembered reading about hypothermia, about how it could creep up silently, how people could feel weirdly warm right before the end. As night fully descended, I realized the true meaning of darkness. This wasn't just an absence of light. This was a darkness that seemed to have texture, weight. It pressed against the thin walls of my tent, and for the first time, I understood why people in remote places told stories about things that moved in the dark. Things that watched. Things that waited. Something woke me. Not a sound exactly. More like an absence. A sudden stillness that felt impossibly heavy. My watch read 3:17 a.m., and the temperature inside the tent had dropped dramatically. My breath came out in thick, panicked clouds, and the condensation on the tent walls had turned to delicate frost patterns that looked almost like intricate, watching eyes. The first real movement came from outside. A scraping sound. Not wind, not branches, but something deliberate. Something calculating. My hand instinctively reached for the hunting knife I'd packed, though I knew how ridiculous a single blade would be against whatever was out there. The scraping continued, methodical and slow, circling the tent like something was mapping its perimeter, testing its boundaries. I'd read enough survival guides to know panic was the real killer in wilderness situations. Stay calm. Assess. But calm was impossible when the scraping sound was joined by something else. A low, guttural sound that wasn't quite a growl, wasn't quite a breath. Something in between. Something that didn't belong to any animal I'd ever heard. The tent wall bulged inward. Not a sudden push, but a slow, deliberate pressure. As if something was testing the fabric, feeling its resistance. I could see the outline. Something large, definitely larger than a person, with an irregular shape that seemed to shift and change even as I watched. My heart thundered so loudly I was sure whatever was outside could hear it. Then it spoke. Not in words, exactly, but in a sound that was language adjacent. A series of clicks and low, guttural sounds that seemed to carry meaning. Like a conversation happening just beyond the edge of human comprehension. The sounds were coming from multiple directions now, surrounding the tent in a way that suggested intelligence. Hunting intelligence. My survival training kicked in. I needed a plan. The RAV-4 was my best chance. If I could reach it, I could potentially drive away. But that meant unzipping the tent, exposing myself to whatever was out there. The sounds continued, now more like whispers, soft and insidious, carrying just enough of a human-like cadence to be utterly terrifying. The temperature kept dropping. My emergency thermal blanket felt paper-thin against what was happening. Frost was forming on the inside of the tent now, delicate and beautiful and absolutely deadly. I realized then that the cold wasn't just a condition, it was a weapon. Something was using the environment itself as a method of trapping me. A shadow passed across the tent wall, massive, misshapen, with limbs that didn't move like any creature I'd ever seen. It was too large to be human, too deliberate to be an animal. Something was hunting me, something that understood exactly what it was doing. And I was trapped, miles from any possible help, in the middle of an Alaskan wilderness that was becoming less natural with every passing moment. The moment I decided to make a run for the RAV-4 was the moment everything changed. As I slowly unzipped the tent, the sounds outside went silent. Not just quiet, absolutely, unnaturally silent. The kind of silence that feels like a held breath, a predator's calculation. My fingers were so cold they barely worked. The zipper caught, then released, and I burst out of the tent with a speed I didn't know I possessed. The snow crunched beneath my boots, but something was wrong. Each step felt like I was moving through something thicker than air, something that resisted my movement. The RAV-4 sat maybe 30 yards away, a beacon of potential salvation, but it might as well have been 30 miles. Something moved in my peripheral vision. Not just moved, flickered. Like a film with frames missing, a creature that didn't quite obey the laws of motion. It was big, easily 8 feet tall, but its shape kept changing. One moment it looked almost human, the next like a collection of shadows stitched together by something that only vaguely understood human form. The cold was more than just temperature now. It was a living thing, cutting into my lungs, making each breath a razor-sharp experience. My survival gear suddenly seemed pathetically inadequate. The creature, or creatures, were using the environment itself as a weapon. The snow seemed to shift beneath my feet, making each step a potential trap. I reached the RAV4, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the door handle. The electronic lock refused to work the first 2 times, the battery weakened by the extreme cold. Behind me, those strange clicking sounds started again, closer now. Not just sounds, a language, a communication I wasn't meant to understand. The engine roared to life, a moment of pure relief that was instantly shattered. Something hit the side of the truck. Not a crash, not a bang, but a sound like pressure, like something was trying to compress the metal itself. The entire vehicle shook, and in the rearview mirror, I caught a glimpse of something that defied explanation, a mass of darkness that seemed to have depth, intelligence, hunger. I floored the accelerator, but the road, if you could call this a road, was treacherous. The RAV4 fishtailed, fighting for traction against snow and ice that seemed almost deliberately placed to slow my escape. Those sounds continued, now coming from inside the truck. Not from the speakers, from everywhere and nowhere. My mind raced faster than the vehicle. What was hunting me? This wasn't a bear, wasn't a wolf, wasn't anything that belonged to the natural world. Something was using the Alaskan wilderness as a hunting ground, and I was nothing more than prey. The darkness pressed against the windows, and I realized with a horror that cut deeper than the cold that my escape might be nothing more than an illusion. Dawn broke, but not like any dawn I'd ever seen. The light was wrong, muted, stretched, as if the sun itself was struggling to penetrate whatever nightmare I'd driven into. My RAV4 sat at the edge of a small ranger station just outside Fairbanks, engine still running, covered in a frost that looked more like intricate, living patterns than simple ice. I should have been relieved. I should have felt safe. But safety was a concept that no longer made sense. The ranger who approached my vehicle looked concerned, but not in the way I expected. His eyes, there was something off about his eyes. They seemed to reflect something beyond normal comprehension, a depth that suggested he knew exactly what I'd encountered. "You're lucky," he said, his voice flat and toneless. "Not many make it out of that area." The words hung in the air like a threat rather than a comfort. I noticed his uniform was pristine, despite the early morning wilderness around us. Too pristine, as if it had been carefully arranged, just like the snow had been in my campsite. My phone had no signal, no photos, no record of the previous night. The GPS showed I'd traveled a route that was impossible, cutting through terrain that shouldn't have been passable. My camping gear was gone, vanished as completely as my memories were fragmented. Only the frost-covered RAV4 remained as a testament to something happening. The ranger handed me a cup of coffee. It tasted like metal and something else, something ancient. I noticed a board behind him with missing person reports. Dozens of them, all from similar areas, all from winter camping expeditions, all with the same haunted look in their eyes, the look I now recognized in my own reflection. Some places, the ranger said, almost as an afterthought, aren't meant to be explored. Some wilderness remembers things we've forgotten. His words carried a weight that suggested this wasn't just about my experience. This was about something older, something that existed between the spaces of what we understand as reality. I should have been terrified, but terror requires understanding. What I felt was something deeper, a profound sense that I'd been allowed to leave, that my escape was nothing more than a temporary reprieve. The wilderness of Alaska isn't just a place. It's a living entity that chooses its interactions with human beings. As I drove back to Fairbanks, the landscape seemed to watch. The snow-covered trees, the endless white horizon, everything felt like a memory waiting to be rewritten. I knew, with a certainty that cut deeper than any physical wound, that I would never truly escape. Some journeys don't end when you leave the wilderness. Some journeys follow you home, waiting in the spaces between your breaths, in the shadows just beyond your understanding. If I'd known the snow could swallow us whole, I'd have stayed home with a beer and a blanket. That's the thought that haunts me now, looking back on how it all started. My name's Georgia James, 32 years old, born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm no stranger to cold, grew up with it, but I'd never tangled with anything like what hit us out there. I'm a graphic designer, usually holed up in my cozy apartment, sketching logos for local breweries. But last winter, I got this itch to break out, to feel alive. So, I rallied my buddies, 4 of us total, for a camping trip in Fairbanks. Figured it'd be a blast, roasting marshmallows in the snow, sipping whiskey by a fire. I drove up in my RAV4, packed to the brim with gear, dreaming of a rugged adventure. The crew was a mixed bag, but we clicked like old times. There was Torrin James, 29, a wiry mechanic with a grin that could charm a grizzly. He's from Juneau originally, always bragging about fixing engines in blizzards. Then there's Lysandra May, 34, a nurse from Nome who's seen some wild stuff in the ER. Tough as nails, but sweet as honey. And finally, Cashin Holt, 27, a barista from Anchorage like me, obsessed with photography, always chasing the perfect shot. We'd all met through a hiking group years back, and this trip was our big reunion. Fairbanks in March sounded epic, remote, pristine, a snowy wonderland. I mean, who doesn't love a good winter escape? Driving up from Anchorage, the road was a ribbon of ice cutting through endless white. The SUV hummed along, heater blasting, while we sang off-key to some 90s playlist. Fairbanks isn't some tourist trap, it's raw, real Alaska, with a bite. We aimed for a spot about 20 miles outside town, a forested stretch near the Chena River, known for its quiet beauty. I'd scoped it online, figured it'd be perfect for our tents and a fire pit. The plan was simple: set up camp, hike a bit, soak in the solitude. I'd even brought my sketch pad, thinking I'd draw the trees under all that snow. Sounded idyllic, right? The closer we got, the more the sky turned this heavy gray, like it was holding its breath. Snow was already falling when we rolled into Fairbanks, fat flakes sticking to the windshield. I remember joking, "Hope we don't get buried alive out there." Torrin laughed, Lysandra rolled her eyes, and Cashin snapped a pic of the storm brewing. We grabbed some last-minute supplies, firewood, extra blankets, a cheap bottle of bourbon, at a gas station where the clerk gave us this weird look, like he knew something we didn't. I brushed it off. Alaska folks are quirky, right? Pitching camp was a slog. The snow was knee-deep, and the wind had a nasty edge, slicing through our jackets. We got the tents up near a cluster of pines, their branches sagging under white. Torrin rigged a tarp for extra shelter, muttering about how his hands were already numb. Lysandra started the fire, her nurse hands steady despite the cold, while Cashin wandered off, camera in hand, chasing shots of the river. I unpacked the SUV, feeling that first twinge of unease, like the forest was watching us. It wasn't anything obvious, just a gut thing. You ever get that? The fire finally roared to life, and we huddled around it, passing the bourbon. The snow kept coming, thicker now, blanketing everything. We swapped stories, Torrin's tall tales about fixing trucks in storms, Lysandra's creepy ER nights. I sketched a quick outline of the firelight on the trees, the flames dancing in the dark. It felt good, cozy even, despite the cold creeping in. But then Cashin came back, his face pale, saying he'd seen something move out by the river. "Probably a moose," I said, laughing it off. He didn't laugh back. Night settled in fast, the kind of dark that swallows you whole. The temperature dropped hard, had to be below 0. We zipped into our sleeping bags, the fire crackling outside, and I remember thinking how quiet it was. Too quiet maybe. No wind, no critters, just the snow piling up. I drifted off, dreaming of Anchorage's warm lights, totally clueless about what was waiting out there. You ever feel like you've stepped into something you can't step out of? Morning hit with a slap of cold so brutal it yanked me awake. I poked my head out. Everything was buried under a fresh foot of snow. The tent sagged, the fire was dead, and the SUV looked like a white lump. Torrin was already up, swearing as he dug out his boots. Lysandra brewed coffee on a camp stove, her breath fogging like a dragon's. Cashin was quiet, staring at the river again. Something felt off, but I couldn't pin it. We figured we'd make the best of it. Hike a little, cook some breakfast, tough out the cold. The snow was relentless, though, sticking to our gear, weighing us down. I kept glancing at the trees, feeling that itch again, like we weren't alone. Maybe it was just the isolation playing tricks. Or maybe it was something else, something horror movie level disturbing, waiting to show its face. You ever wonder how fast a good time can turn sour? Digging out from that snow was no picnic. The camp looked like a war zone. Tents half collapsed, gear soaked, and the SUV buried up to its windows. Torin was already at it, swearing up a storm as he shoveled with a camp spade, his breath puffing out in angry clouds. Lysandra, bless her, had the coffee going, but even that couldn't shake the chills sinking into my bones. Cashin just stood there, staring at the river like it owed him money. I should have known something creepy was brewing, but I was too busy cursing the cold. We huddled around the camp stove, sipping lukewarm coffee, trying to figure out our next move. The snow hadn't let up, kept falling in these thick, wet clumps that stuck to everything. Torin suggested packing up and heading back to Fairbanks. "This ain't fun anymore, June," he said, rubbing his hands like they'd never thaw. Lysandra nodded, practical as ever, pointing out how the forecast promised worse. But me? I dug my heels in. "We came for an adventure," I argued, stubborn as a mule. "Let's tough it out one more day." Cashin barely chimed in, just muttered something about the light being perfect for photos. That should have been a red flag. So we stayed. Dumb move, looking back. We spent the morning reinforcing camp, propped up the tents, rebuilt the fire pit, dug a path to the SUV. My hands were raw by noon, gloves soaked through. The snow was heavier than I'd ever seen, like it had a mind of its own, piling up faster than we could clear it. I kept catching Lysandra glancing at the trees, her nurse instincts probably screaming. "You feel that?" she asked once, real quiet. I shrugged it off, thought she meant the cold. But deep down, I knew it was something else, something disturbing gnawing at the edges. By afternoon, we decided to hike to the river, stretch our legs, shake off the gloom. Bad call number 2. The snow was thigh-deep now, slowing us to a crawl. Cashin led the way, camera swinging, snapping pics of icicles dangling like teeth from the pines. Torin grumbled the whole time, saying we'd regret it if the truck got stuck. I tried to lighten the mood, joking about how we'd tell this story over beers later. "Yeah, if we make it," Lysandra shot back, half laughing, half serious. You ever notice how a joke can hit too close to home? The river was a frozen slab, glinting under the gray sky. We stopped to catch our breath, and that's when Cashin piped up again. "I saw it last night," he said, voice low. "Something big, moving out there." I rolled my eyes, figured he was spooked by a caribou or a trick of the light. But then he showed us the photo, a blurry shape in the snow, too tall, too thin to be anything normal. My stomach did a flip. "Probably just shadows," I said, but my voice wobbled. Torin squinted at it, then at the river, and went quiet. That's when the first real shiver hit me, not from the cold. Back at camp, things got weird fast. The fire wouldn't stay lit, kept sputtering out like the snow was choking it. Lysandra found one of our food bags torn open, scattered in the drifts. "Bear?" she guessed, but there were no tracks, just this messy smear in the snow. Torin checked the truck, said the battery was acting funky, even though it had been fine that morning. I laughed it off, said we were just tired, but my gut was screaming something scary was up. You know that feeling when you're being watched, but you can't prove it? Night crept in again, and the cold turned vicious, teeth chattering, bone-deep stuff. We crammed into one tent, pooling body heat, passing the last of the bourbon. The snow outside was relentless, thudding against the canvas like it wanted in. Cashin kept fiddling with his camera, zooming in on that damn photo. "It's not right," he muttered, over and over. I wanted to smack him, tell him to quit freaking us out, but then I heard it, a low hum, barely there, coming from the trees. Not wind, not an animal, something else. We argued about leaving at first light. Torin was all for it, Lysandra too, but I still clung to this dumb idea of sticking it out. "We've handled worse," I said, thinking of Anchorage winters. They didn't push back hard. Guess they trusted me too much. Big mistake. The hum got louder as we drifted off, and I swear the snow sounded like it was whispering. Ever wake up to a nightmare you can't shake? Morning broke gray and brutal, the tent walls sagging under fresh snow. I crawled out, bleary-eyed, and froze. The other tents were gone, buried or something worse. I couldn't tell. The fire pit was just a lump, and the SUV looked like a ghost in the drifts. Cashin's camera lay in the snow, lens cracked, that creepy photo still on the screen. My heart started pounding. Something was wrong, really wrong, and it wasn't just the weather. That morning hit me like a punch. The tent's gone, the camp trashed, and Cashin's cracked camera staring up at me from the snow with that freaky photo still glowing. My hands shook as I picked it up, the blurry shape on the screen looking taller, sharper than before. I yelled for the others, my voice cracking in the cold. Torin stumbled out first, his face going slack when he saw the chaos. Lysandra followed, zipping her coat, muttering, "What the hell?" We all just stood there, dumbstruck, the snow falling like it was laughing at us. The air felt wrong, thick, heavy, like it was pressing down. I tried to chalk it up to exhaustion, but then Torin pointed at the trees. "Look," he said, voice tight. There were marks, long, deep gouges in the bark, way too high for a bear. My stomach flipped. Lysandra crouched by the ruined food bag from yesterday, her fingers tracing weird scratches in the snow, thin, jagged, like something sharp had dragged through. "This ain't natural," she whispered. I wanted to argue, but that hum from last night was back, louder, buzzing in my skull. You ever feel dread so bad it's like a taste? We scrambled to the SUV, thinking we'd just peel out of there. But the damn thing wouldn't start, battery dead as a doornail, even after Torin messed with it. He popped the hood, cursing, saying it looked like something had chewed the wires. Chewed. I snapped, half laughing, half panicking. He didn't answer, just stared at me, wide-eyed. That's when Cashin grabbed my arm, hard, and pointed at the river. "It's there," he hissed. I squinted through the snow and saw it. A shape, tall and spindly, swaying between the trees. My heart slammed against my ribs. This was no moose. It moved closer, slow and deliberate, like it knew we were trapped. I couldn't make it out, too far, too snowy, but it was wrong, all angles and edges where a person or animal should have been smooth. The hum turned into a low, grinding growl, vibrating through the ground. Lysandra grabbed my sleeve, yanking me toward the tent. "We gotta hide," she said, her nerves calm cracking. We dove inside, zipping it shut, like that flimsy nylon could save us. You ever hide from something you can't even name? The thing stopped maybe 50 yards out. I could see its shadow through the tent wall, stretching too long in the dim light. My breath fogged in front of me, shallow and fast. Torin clutched a hatchet he'd grabbed from the truck, knuckles white. Cashin was muttering, I knew it, like a broken record. Then it screamed, sharp, piercing, like ice cracking under a truck. My ears rang, and I clapped my hands over them, trying not to puke. The snow outside crunched, slow and heavy, like it was circling us. Every step was a jolt to my spine. We sat there, frozen, ironic, waiting for it to either leave or rip us apart. Minutes dragged like hours. Lysandra whispered about frostbite cases she'd seen, trying to keep us grounded, but her voice shook. I peeked through a slit in the zipper, saw it clearer now, maybe 10 feet tall, limbs bent weird, no face I could make out. It wasn't human, wasn't animal. Something scary as hell, straight out of a nightmare I didn't sign up for. The growling stopped, but the silence was worse, like it was toying with us. Then the tent shook, something brushed it, hard. I bit my tongue to keep from screaming, tasting blood. Torin swung the hatchet at nothing, just air, his eyes wild. We're dead, he said flat out. I wanted to smack him, tell him to shut up, but part of me agreed. The thing lingered, its shadow shifting, and I swear I felt it looking right at me. You know how you can feel eyes on you, even in the dark? The snow started piling up again, burying the tent's edges, trapping us tighter. Cashin fumbled with his busted camera, like he could document this horror show. It's real, he kept saying, like we didn't believe him. Lysandra hissed at him to stop, but then we heard it. Another scream, farther off, answered by a second one. There were more. My chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. We weren't just lost in the cold anymore. This was something else, something disturbing beyond the weather. I don't know how long we stayed like that, huddled, waiting for the end. The thing outside moved off, or seemed to, its shadow fading into the blizzard. But the growls echoed, bouncing between the trees, and those scratches kept showing up, closer each time we dared to look. The tent felt like a coffin, the snow our grave. I kept thinking about Anchorage, my warm bed, how I'd dragged us into this. Whatever was out there, it wasn't done with us, not by a long shot. We were crammed in that tent, the snow piling up like a death sentence, and those things, whatever they were, kept circling, their growls rattling my teeth. The air was so cold it burned, but the real horror was knowing we couldn't stay put. Torin gripped his hatchet, Lysandra clutched a flashlight like a lifeline, and Cashin just rocked back and forth, whispering about his damn camera. I took a shaky breath and said, "We're getting out. Now." No one argued. We all knew it was do or die. The plan was simple but insane. Make a break for the SUV, pray it'd start, and haul us back to Fairbanks. Problem was, the truck was 30 yards away, buried in snow, and those freaky shapes were still out there. I unzipped the tent, heart pounding like a drum, and peeked out. The blizzard was a white wall, but I could see them, tall, twisted figures swaying in the distance, their screams cutting through the wind. "Go fast, stay low," I hissed, like I was some action movie hero. You ever run for your life knowing you might not make it? We bolted, snow sucking at our boots, the cold stabbing my lungs. Torin led, hatchet swinging, while Lysandra kept the flashlight beam darting around. Cashin stumbled behind, clutching that busted camera like it'd save him. The SUV loomed ahead, a blurry ghost in the storm. I heard a crunch, too close, and spun around. One of those things lunged from the trees, all jagged limbs and no face, moving way too fast. I screamed, pure panic, and shoved Cashin forward. It was on us in seconds, a nightmare come to life. Torin swung the hatchet, catching it in what might have been an arm. Hard to tell. It shrieked, this awful, glass-shattering sound, and swiped back, sending him sprawling into the snow. Blood sprayed, red against white, and my stomach lurched. Lysandra yanked him up, yelling, "Move, move." I grabbed Cashin's arm, dragging him toward the truck, my legs burning. The thing didn't follow right away. Maybe Torin heard it, but I heard more screams behind us, closing in. You ever smell fear? It's sharp, like metal. We reached the SUV, and Torin fumbled with the hood again, hands slick with blood. His, or its, I couldn't tell. "Wires are shot," he yelled, voice hoarse. Lysandra shoved him aside, ripped off her glove, and started twisting stuff under there, her nurse hands steady even now. I jumped in the driver's seat, praying to anyone listening. The engine sputtered, once, twice, then roared. I hooped, half crying, as Cashin piled in, slamming the door. But then the window cracked, something hit it, hard. I floored it, tires spinning in the snow. The truck fishtailed, sliding on ice, but I kept my foot down. Those things were everywhere now, shadows in the rear view, darting through the storm. One slammed into the side, rocking us, and I swerved, nearly clipping a tree. Lysandra screamed, faster, like I wasn't already maxed out. Torin was bleeding bad, clutching his side, muttering curses. Cashin snapped picks out the back, flash popping uselessly. The road, if you could call it that, was a guess, buried under drifts, but I aimed for where I thought town might be. Ever drive blind, hoping you're not dead yet? They chased us, relentless, their growls mixing with the wind howling through the cracked window. One got close, too close, its claw or whatever scraping the tailgate. I jerked the wheel, fishtailing again, and it fell back, lost in the snow. My hands were numb on the steering wheel, sweat freezing on my face. Lysandra tore her scarf, wrapping Torin's wound, blood soaking through fast. "He's losing too much," she said, voice tight. I didn't look, couldn't, just kept driving, praying the gas wouldn't give out. Miles blurred by, the storm a white cage around us. The shapes faded, or maybe I just stopped seeing them, but the terror didn't. The truck rattled, engine coughing like it was as scared as us. Cashin went quiet, finally dropping the camera, his hands shaking. Torin groaned, head lolling, and Lysandra pressed harder on his side, her face pale. I spotted a faint glow ahead, Fairbanks maybe. My chest ached with hope, but those screams still echoed in my head, like they'd follow us forever. I don't know how we kept going, adrenaline, dumb luck, whatever. The snow thinned a little, and I saw a sign, bent and frosty. Fairbanks 10 miles. 10 miles to safety, 10 miles to screw up. The truck lurched, something grinding under the hood, and I gripped the wheel tighter. Torin's breathing got shallow, Lysandra's hands were red, and Cashin stared out the window like he'd seen a ghost. Whatever was back there, it wasn't done, it was waiting, and I could feel it. The SUV was limping, engine hacking like a smoker's cough, but that faint glow of town kept me going. Torin was slumped in the back, blood soaking Lysandra's scarf, his breaths coming in ragged gasps. She was a mess, hands trembling as she pressed on his wound, muttering, "Hold on, damn it." Cashin just stared out the window, hollow-eyed, like he'd left his soul back in the snow. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white, telling myself we'd make it. You ever cling to hope when it's slipping through your fingers? The sign said 10 miles, but it felt like 100. The storm eased up a bit, enough to see the road, or what was left of it, twisting through the trees. Those things, those horror show freaks, weren't in the rear view anymore, but I could still hear their screams in my head, sharp and haunting. The truck shuddered, a grinding noise kicking in, and I cursed under my breath. "Come on, baby, don't quit on me now," I said, like sweet-talking it would help. Lysandra shot me a look, half panic, half don't you dare jinx us. Ever talk to a car like it's your last friend? We hit a patch of black ice, and the truck spun, tires screaming. I yanked the wheel, hard in my throat, and we slid sideways, slamming into a snowbank. The jolt threw us forward. Cashin smacked the dash, groaning, while Lysandra braced Torin. I floored it again, wheels spinning uselessly, snow spraying. "We're stuck," I said, voice cracking. Lysandra didn't hesitate. She jumped out, flashlight in hand, shouting, "Help me dig." I scrambled after her, the cold biting hard, while Cashin finally snapped out of it and grabbed a shovel. You ever dig like your life depends on it? We clawed at the snow, hands numb, breath fogging, but then I heard it, that low growl, creeping back. My head snapped up, and there they were, shapes in the trees, closer than before, swaying like they'd been waiting. "They're here," I whispered, dropping the shovel. Lysandra froze, flashlight beam shaking, catching glints of those twisted limbs. Cashin bolted for the truck, yelling, "Get in, get in." We piled back inside, doors slamming, but the engine just whined, dead. Panic hit me like a freight train. Ever feel trapped with nowhere to run? I turned the key again, nothing. Torin coughed, wet and weak, and Lysandra's voice broke. "He's fading, June." I slammed my fist on the dash, screaming, "Start, you piece of junk." The growls got louder, shadows closing in, and one of those things stepped into the light. Tall, jagged, no face, just a void where one should have been. It raised an arm, or whatever, and smashed the windshield. Glass exploded, and I ducked, shards cutting my cheek. Cashin swung the shovel, wild, but it grabbed him, yanking him out through the hole. His scream cut off fast, too fast. Lysandra lunged after him, but I grabbed her, pulling her back. "He's gone," I yelled, tears freezing on my face. The thing tossed Cashin's body like a rag doll, blood staining the snow, and turned to us. Torin was out cold, maybe already gone, and the truck rocked as another one hit the side. I fumbled with the key one last time. Miracle of miracles, it caught, engine roaring. I slammed it into gear, tires biting, and we lurched free, plowing through the snow. You ever leave someone behind and know it'll haunt you? I drove blind, sobbing, Lysandra cradling Torin's head. The things chased us, claws scraping the truck, but the lights of Fairsbank grew brighter. We hit pavement, real road, and I didn't stop, not until we skidded into a gas station lot, horn blaring. People ran out, shouting, but I just sat there, shaking, the horror sinking in. Torin wasn't breathing. Lysandra checked, her hands bloody, and shook her head. Cashin was back there, torn apart. My fault. I'd pushed us to stay, ignored the signs. Cops showed up, medics too, but I barely heard them. Lysandra hugged me, both of us wrecked, while they zipped Torin into a bag. I kept seeing that faceless thing, hearing Cashin scream, feeling the cold that wasn't just weather. We'd escaped, yeah, but at what cost? 2 dead, and me and Lysandra scarred for life. I should have turned back that first day, biggest mistake I ever made. They towed the truck, asked questions I couldn't answer. What was it, some guy kept saying. I didn't know, just knew it was scary, disturbing, and real. Fairsbank glowed around us, safe and warm, but I felt like I'd never thaw. Lysandra squeezed my hand, whispering, "We're alive." Barely. I'd dragged us into a tragedy, and now I'd live with it, snow and all. If I'd known the snow hid monsters worse than the cold, I'd have burned my camping gear and called it a day. That's the regret chewing at me now, looking back on how this whole mess started. I'm Soren Elias Vaughn, 28, born and bred in Juneau, Alaska. I'm a carpenter by trade, usually hammering away at custom furniture in my little workshop, sipping coffee to stay warm. But last March, I got this wild hair to shake things up, escape the routine. So, I roped in a few pals for a camping trip in Fairbanks. Thought it'd be a rugged, good time. You know, chopping wood, cooking over a fire, beating the winter blues. I loaded up my Silverado with supplies and hit the road, chasing that thrill. My crew was small but solid. 3 of us total, each with our quirks. There's Maris Quinn, 26, a bartender from Sitka with a laugh that could melt ice and a knack for mixing drinks even in the wild. Then there's Thane Carver, 30, a fisherman from Kodiak who's weathered storms that'd make you cry. Gruff, but loyal. We'd all crossed paths at a Juneau craft fair a couple years back, bonding over beers and bad weather stories. Fairbanks sounded like the perfect spot, remote, snowy, a chance to test ourselves against the wild. I figured my truck could handle anything. The drive from Juneau was a beast, hours of icy roads, the truck's heater cranking to keep us sane. We blasted some old rock tunes, windows fogged up from laughing and yakking. Fairbanks isn't your postcard Alaska. It's raw, untamed, with a chill that sinks into your soul. We aimed for a spot near the Tanana River, about 15 miles west of town. A stretch of forest I'd heard was quiet and gorgeous in winter. I'd packed my axe, some sketch pads. Yeah, I doodle furniture designs, and enough food to last a week. Sounded like a solid plan, right? We rolled into Fairbanks under a sky that looked bruised, snow already dusting the ground. I swung by a little store for extra firewood and a bottle of cheap rum. Maris insisted on it for her camp cocktails. The cashier, this old guy with a beard like Santa, gave us a squint and said, "Careful out there." I grinned, thinking he was just being dramatic. Alaska's full of characters, you know? We shrugged it off and headed out, the truck rumbling through the drifts, snowflakes smacking the windshield like they were mad. Setting up camp was a workout. The snow was ankle-deep, wind whistling through the pines like a warning I didn't catch. Thane hacked at some branches for a fire break, his breath puffing out in clouds, while Maris wrestled with the tents, cursing the stakes. I unloaded the truck, stacking gear under a tarp, feeling that first prick of something off, like the forest was sizing us up. You ever get a vibe you can't shake? I ignored it, focused on getting the fire going. Took forever, but we finally had flames licking up, warming our hands. We cracked open the rum, passing it around as the fire snapped and popped. Maris mixed it with some hot cocoa, called it her snow special, and we toasted to surviving the cold. Thane spun a yarn about a storm that nearly sank his boat, his voice low and gravelly, while I sketched the firelight on the trees, the snow glowing orange. It felt good, like we'd conquered something already. But then Maris tilted her head, frowning. "You hear that?" she asked. I didn't yet. Just the crackle of the fire and the wind. Night dropped fast, the kind of dark that makes you feel small. The temp plummeted, frost creeping up the tent walls. We piled into our sleeping bags, the fire dying outside, and I remember thinking how still it was. No owls, no rustling, just snow settling. I drifted off, dreaming of Juneau's harbor lights, totally blind to what was lurking out there. You ever sleep through the start of something scary? Morning slammed me awake with a cold so sharp it hurt to breathe. I crawled out, blinking at the camp. Everything dusted white, the truck half buried, the fire pit a memory. Thane was up, stomping his boots clean, while Maris poked at the stove, trying to boil water. The snow kept falling, steady and thick, like it was building a wall around us. I laughed, said, "Guess we're in it now." They smirked, but there was this edge to it, like we all felt something creeping in. We decided to tough it out, hike a bit, cook some grub, make it a real trip. The snow stuck to everything, weighing down the tents, clogging our boots. I kept glancing at the river, that itch in my gut growing, like we weren't as alone as we thought. Maybe it was just the isolation messing with me. Or maybe it was something worse, something disturbing, waiting to pounce. You ever wonder how quick a fun trip can turn into a horror story? The camp was a snowy mess, tents sagging, gear damp, and the truck looking like it had been swallowed halfway by the drifts. Thane was out there, swearing as he kicked snow off his boots, his fisherman's hands red from the cold. Maris had the camp stove flickering, trying to thaw some coffee, but her usual grin was gone. I rubbed my hands together, breath fogging, and tried to play it cool. Rough start, huh? I said, but deep down, I was starting to feel something creepy crawling up my spine. We gathered around the stove, sipping bitter coffee, figuring out what to do. The snow hadn't stopped, kept dumping down in these heavy, wet sheets that stuck like glue. Thane was all for packing it in. "This ain't worth it, Soren," he growled, wiping frost off his beard. Maris nodded, saying the forecast was ugly. More snow, sub-zero temps. But me? I was stubborn as hell. "We're here now," I argued. "Let's give it one more day, make it a story worth telling." They didn't love it, but they trusted me. Big mistake, looking back. You ever push a bad idea just cause you're too proud to quit? So, we doubled down, shored up the tents, dug out the fire pit, cleared a path to the truck. My gloves were soaked through by lunch, fingers numb, and the snow just laughed at us, piling up faster than we could move it. Maris kept squinting at the trees, like she was waiting for something to jump out. "Feels weird out here," she said once, real quiet. I brushed it off, thought it was just the cold messing with her. But that itch in my gut was getting worse, like the forest was holding its breath. Afternoon rolled around, and we figured a hike to the Tanano River might shake off the gloom. Dumb move, but we were restless. The snow was shin-deep, slowing us to a slog, and Thane griped the whole way about how the truck never started if we didn't watch it. I tried to keep it light, joking about how we'd brag about this over rum later. "If we don't freeze first," Maris shot back, smirking but tense. The river was a frozen mirror when we got there, ice glinting under the gray sky. We stopped to breathe, and that's when Thane pointed. "What's that?" he asked, voice low. There was a shape out on the ice, dark, hunched, too far to see clear. I squinted, heart kicking up a notch. "Probably a wolf," I said, but it didn't move like one. Too still, too wrong. Maris pulled out her phone, zoomed in, and her face went pale. "That's no wolf," she whispered, showing us the screen. It was blurry, but tall, too tall, legs bent weird, like it shouldn't stand up straight. My mouth went dry. You ever see something that makes your brain scream, run, but your feet won't move? Back at camp, shit got real. The fire wouldn't catch, kept dying no matter how much we fed it, like the snow was snuffing it out. Thane found one of our tarps shredded, flapping in the wind, no tracks around it, just claw marks in the wood nearby. "Wind my ass," he muttered, gripping his axe tighter. I checked the truck, starter clicked, but it wouldn't turn over. "Battery's fine," I said, confused, but that creepy feeling was loud now. Maris swore she heard something, a low whine, not wind, coming from the river. Ever feel like the world's dropping hints you're too dumb to catch? Night hit hard, the cold turning brutal, teeth chattering, bone-rattling stuff. We crammed into one tent, piling blankets, passing the last of the rum. The snow thudded against the canvas, heavy and relentless, like it wanted to bury us. Thane kept his axe close, eyes darting to the zipper. Maris hummed some old song, trying to stay calm, but her hands shook. I couldn't shake that shape on the ice, kept seeing it in my head, growing taller, sharper. You ever sit there, waiting for something scary to prove you're not crazy? We debated bailing at dawn. Thane was pissed, saying we should have left hours ago. Maris agreed, her voice tight, but I still clung to this idiot hope we could ride it out. "We've got this," I said, thinking of Juno winters I'd survived. They didn't fight me hard. Guess they figured I knew best. Wrong call. That whine got louder, closer, and the snow started falling in weird patterns, swirling like it was alive. Ever hear something that makes you wonder if you're already screwed? Morning broke cold and gray, the tent walls bowing under fresh snow. I crawled out, half asleep, and stopped dead. The other tent was trashed, ripped open, stakes bent, like something had torn through it. The fire pit was gone, just a smooth mound, and the truck's hood was popped, wires dangling, chewed up. My heart started hammering. Maris stumbled out behind me, gasping, and Thane gripped his axe, staring at the river. Something was out there, and it wasn't waiting anymore. The camp was a wreck, tent shredded, truck gutted, and that eerie whine from the river buzzing in my ears like a bad dream. I stood there, breath fogging, staring at those chewed-up wires hanging from the hood. Maris came up beside me, her face white as the snow, whispering, "What did this?" Thane didn't say a word, just gripped his axe, eyes locked on the trees. My gut was screaming something scary was about to go down, and for once, I couldn't laugh it off. The air felt off, too still, too heavy, like it was holding something back. I kicked at the snow, trying to think straight, when Thane grunted, "Over there." He nodded at the pines, bark torn up high, long gashes like claws had raked through. My chest tightened. Maris crouched by the trash tent, running her fingers over weird marks, sharp, uneven, not animal, not human. "This is messed up," she said, voice shaking. That whine turned into a growl, low and grinding, rattling my bones. "You ever feel something watching you that you can't see?" We bolted to the truck, praying it'd start despite the mess. I jumped in, turned the key, nothing but a weak click. Thane popped the hood again, swearing loud, saying something had ripped the battery cables clean out. "Ripped?" I snapped, panic creeping in. He just pointed at the jagged ends, like teeth had been at it. Maris grabbed my arm, hard, and hissed, "Soren, look!" Out by the river, that shape from yesterday was back, taller, clearer, swaying on the ice. My heart slammed against my ribs. This was no wolf. It was wrong, all wrong. It started moving, slow at first, like it was teasing us. I could see it better now, long, bent limbs, no face, just a dark smear where one should have been. The growl got louder, shaking the ground, and Maris yanked me toward the tent. "Hide now," she said, her bartender cool gone. We dove inside, zipping it up, like that'd stop whatever was coming. Thane clutched his axe, breathing hard, while Maris fumbled with her phone, hands trembling. You ever huddle up, knowing you're just delaying the inevitable? The thing stopped maybe 40 yards out. I could see its shadow through the tent, stretched and twisted, way too big. My throat went dry, and I couldn't swallow. Thane whispered, "We're fucked," his voice flat, like he'd already given up. Then it let out a scream, high, jagged, like metal snapping in the cold. I clapped my hands over my ears, head pounding, while Maris whimpered, "What is that?" The snow crunched outside, deliberate and heavy, circling us. Every step was a punch to my gut. We sat there, barely breathing, waiting for it to either leave or tear us apart. The shadow shifted, and I peeked out, saw it clearer, maybe 12 feet tall, limbs folding in ways that hurt to look at. It wasn't natural, something straight out of a nightmare, disturbing as hell. The growling stopped, and the quiet was worse, like it was playing with us. Maris tried to joke, "Guess my snow special's off the menu," but her laugh cracked. You ever try to stay sane when the world's falling apart? Then the tent jolted, something scraped it, slow and hard, like nails on a chalkboard. I bit my lip, tasting blood, trying not to scream. Thane swung his axe at the air, wild-eyed, muttering about Kodiak storms being easier than this. The thing lingered, its shadow pressing closer, and I swear it knew we were scared shitless. You know that feeling when something's toying with you, and you're the mouse? The snow started piling up again, sealing us in, and that's when we heard it. A second scream, farther off, answered by another. There were more of them. My stomach dropped, and Maris grabbed my hand, squeezing tight. "We're not alone," she said, like I didn't already know. Thane checked the tent flap. More scratches, fresh ones, inches from where we sat. We weren't just stuck in the cold. This was something else, something horror movie bad, and it was closing in. I don't know how long we stayed like that, trapped, listening to those growls echo through the trees. The thing outside moved off, or seemed to, but the screams kept coming, bouncing around like a pack on the hunt. My mind raced back to Juneau, my warm shop, how I'd dragged us into this. Whatever they weren't done, they were waiting, and I could feel their eyes, even through the snow. I was cursing every stupid choice that landed us in that Fairsbank hellhole. We were pinned in the tent, snow stacking up like a tomb, those faceless freaks growling outside like they owned the place. Thane's axe was shaking in his hands. Maris was clutching her phone like it'd call for help, and I was sweating despite the cold, knowing we couldn't sit there forever. "We're running," I said, voice hoarse. "Truck or bust." They nodded, eyes wide. No arguing when death's breathing down your neck. You ever make a call that's all or nothing? The plan was nuts but simple. Sprint to the truck, fix it fast, and peel out before those things turned us into snow chow. Trouble was, it was 20 yards away, wires trashed, and the growls were closing in. I unzipped the tent, heart jackhammering, and peeked out. The blizzard was a white blur, but I saw them. Those tall, twisted shapes, darting between the pines, screams slicing the air. "Now," I hissed, and we bolted, snow dragging at our legs, the cold clawing my lungs. Ever run so fast you forget how to breathe? We stumbled through the drifts, Thane in front, axe swinging like a madman, Maris right behind, her flashlight bouncing wild. I brought up the rear, half tripping, adrenaline pumping so hard I could hear my pulse. One of those things lunged from the trees, too close, its jagged arms swiping at Maris. She screamed, ducking, and I shoved her forward, yelling, "Go, go!" It was fast, all angles and no face, a horror show on legs. Thane spun, hacked at it, and hit something. Black ooze sprayed, stinking like rot. It screeched, reeling back, but more shadows moved in. You ever smell something that makes you gag and run at the same time? We hit the truck, and Thane dove under the hood, hands fumbling with the mangled wires. "It's a mess," he shouted, voice raw. Maris ripped off her scarf, twisting it around the cables, her bartender fingers quick even now. I jumped in the driver's seat, keys shaking in my hand. Click, sputter, nothing. "Come on," I yelled, slamming the dash. The thing Thane hit was back, staggering closer, and another smashed the tailgate, rocking us. I turned the key again, engine coughed, then roared. I hooped, "Get in," as they piled inside, doors banging shut. Ever pray to a truck like it's your god? I floored it, tires spinning, snow flying. The truck fishtailed, sliding on ice, and those things chased, shadows in the mirrors, claws scraping metal. One leaped, smashing the back window, glass shattered, and Maris screamed, ducking shards. Thane swung his axe through the gap, wild, hitting nothing but air. "Faster, Soren," he bellowed, like I wasn't already maxed out. The road was a guess, buried under drifts, but I aimed for Fairsbank, knuckles white on the wheel. You ever drive with your heart in your throat? They kept coming, relentless, their screams mixing with the wind howling through the busted window. One got close, too damn close, raking the side, metal screeching. I swerved, nearly rolling US, and it fell back, lost in the storm. Maris was hyperventilating, clutching her arm, blood seeping through her sleeve where a shard had cut her. Thane twisted around, checking the rear, axe ready. "They're still there," he muttered, voice tight. "Ever feel like you're prey, not the hunter?" The truck groaned, engine stuttering, but I pushed it harder. The snow thinned a little, and I caught a glimpse of a sign, Fairbanks 12 miles. Hope flickered, but those things weren't quitting. One slammed the roof, denting it, and I jerked the wheel, shaking it off. Maris whimpered, pressing her scarf to her arm, red soaking through. Thane growled, "We're not dying out here," but his eyes said he wasn't sure. You ever fight for a chance that feels like a long shot? Miles blurred by, the storm a cage around us. The shapes started fading, or maybe my eyes were playing tricks, but the terror stuck, sharp and cold. The truck rattled, something grinding under the hood, and I gripped tighter, whispering, "Hold on, baby." Maris pointed ahead, voice shaky. "Lights." And I saw it. A faint glow, maybe town. My chest ached, but those screams still echoed, like they'd chase us to the end of the earth. I don't know how we kept moving, dumb luck or sheer will. The road got clearer, pavement peeking through, and I gunned it, the truck lurching like it was as scared as us. Thane kept watch, axe in hand, while Maris tied her scarf tighter, blood dripping. The glow grew. Fairbanks, so close, but I couldn't shake the feeling we weren't out yet. Whatever was back there, it was pissed, and I could still hear it, faint but real, in the wind. I'm Soren Elias Vaughn, 28, and that last stretch to Fairbanks was a nightmare I'll never shake. The truck was coughing, barely holding together, but those town lights kept me pushing. Maris was in the back, blood soaking her scarf, her face pale as she pressed her arm. Thane gripped his axe, staring out the busted window, his fisherman's grit fading fast. I kept my foot down, telling myself we'd make it, but my hands were shaking so bad I could barely steer. You ever cling to a thread when it's fraying right in front of you? The sign said 12 miles, but it felt like forever. The storm was letting up, snow thinning enough to see the road twist through the pines. Those things, those faceless horrors, weren't in the mirrors anymore, but their screams lingered, sharp and haunting, like they were burned into my skull. The truck lurched, a grinding noise kicking in, and I muttered, "Don't you dare," like it could hear me. Maris forced a laugh. "Your truck's got more fight than us," but it was weak, her voice trembling. Ever try to joke when you're scared shitless? We hit a slick patch, and the truck spun, tires squealing. I yanked the wheel, heart pounding, and we skidded, slamming into a drift. The jolt threw Maris forward. She yelped, clutching her arm tighter, while Thane braced against the dash. I floored it again, wheels spinning, snow spraying, but we were stuck. No, 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 I yelled, panic clawing up my throat. Thane jumped out, axe in hand, shouting, "Dig, Soren!" I grabbed a shovel, the cold biting my face, and we hacked at the snow, desperate. You ever shovel like your life's ticking away? The growls came back, low, close, creeping through the trees. I froze, shovel mid-swing, and saw them, shadows moving in, taller than before, swaying like they'd been waiting. Maris screamed from the truck, "They're here!" I spun, and one stepped into view, jagged, faceless, looming over us. Thane roared, swinging his axe, but it caught his arm, twisting it wrong. Bones snapped, loud and sickening. He went down, blood staining the snow, and I lunged, shoving the shovel at it. It screeched, stumbling back, but more were coming. Ever see a friend fall and know you can't stop it? I dragged Thane to the truck, his arm limp, his face gray. "Get in," I yelled at Maris, who was already yanking the door open. I shoved him inside, blood slick on my hands, and jumped in, turning the key, nothing. The thing smashed the hood, metal crumpling, and I tried again, sputter, roar, finally. I hit the gas, tires catching, and we lurched free, swerving past it. Another clawed the side, rocking us, and I floored it, screaming, "Hold on." You ever drive with death riding shotgun? They chased us, claws scraping, screams piercing the wind. Thane groaned, clutching his arm, blood pooling on the seat. Maris tied her scarf around it, sobbing, "He's bad, Soren." I didn't look, just drove, the truck shaking, engine whining. The lights grew brighter, Fairsbank, and I aimed for them, praying we'd outrun this horror. One got close, slamming the tailgate, and I swerved, losing it in the drifts. My chest was tight, lungs burning, but I kept going. Ever push so hard you forget why? Pavement hit under the tires, real road, and I gunned it, the town glowing ahead. The shapes faded, their screams softening, but the terror stuck, cold and deep. We skidded into a diner lot, horn blaring, and people ran out, yelling. I stumbled from the truck, shaking, while Maris crawled out, blood-streaked. Thane wasn't moving, his chest still, eyes open. I sank to my knees, the snow soaking through, and Maris grabbed me, crying, "He's gone." My fault. I'd pushed us to stay, ignored the signs. Cops swarmed, medics too, but I was numb. They took Thane away, zipped in a bag, while Maris got patched up, her arm a mess. I sat there, staring at the truck, dented, bloody, a wreck like us. "What was it?" some cop asked. I didn't answer, just saw that faceless thing, heard Thane scream, felt the cold that wasn't just Alaska. We'd escaped, but Thane paid for it, and Maris and I'd carry this forever. Biggest screw-up of my life. They towed the truck, asked questions I mumbled through. Fairsbank buzzed around us, warm and alive, but I felt dead inside. Maris hugged me, whispering, "We made it," but it didn't feel true. I'd dragged us into a tragedy, and now Thane was gone, lost to something scary and real. The snow kept falling, soft and quiet, like it was burying the truth out there.